It is the meet every college athlete wants to win at the place where every athlete wants to win. Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon. Gorgeous evening here. So naturally my umbrella and rain suit is close by. Hayward Field and the University of Oregon hosting the NCAA Track and Field Championships for the 17th time, with the U.S. Olympic trials coming in just 2 weeks. But for the next 4 days, we are here for the collegiates. Men's semis tonight. Women, the same on ESPN2 Thursday. There'll be the 10K final and selected field event finals. Friday is championship day for the men at 9 Eastern. Saturday, the women run their finals and the team championship. That begins at 5:30 Eastern on ESPN. That's right, track and field coming to the mothership. 176 schools represented at this championship. Runners, jumpers, throwers, some will do all three, from 47 states, DC, Puerto Rico, and 54 different countries, because college track is a global sport, and isn't that appropriate? It's June 5th, Global Running Day. The gang and the talent is all here. I'm John Anderson, and our gang calling it for you, Dwight Stones, Dan O'Brien, Lara Overton. Get ready for 4 great days, guys, and get us off to a fast start here.
All right, John, you know we will, and we'll be visiting you with interviews down on the infield as the day progresses, as we are now ready for the first of 3 heats of the men's 4x100 meter relay. 9 total teams will advance. The top 2 finishers in each of these 3 heats will automatically get through. Then it's the top 3 fastest non-automatic qualifying times over the 3 heats. A lot of tension in the building as we take a look at Kentucky. Number 4 in the NCAAs this year. They were 4th at the SEC meet.
Well, they broke the school record at the Drake Relays earlier this year, and there you see Shabik Vasquez. He goes first. Clinton Munga, the fastest guy on this team, he'll go in the second leg, and then on the anchor leg, all the experience there with Kennedy Leitner. But this has been a really solid quartet all this year. And here you see the Auburn Tigers, and this is a team that has run extremely fast. And I say that even without Faber Ashe. Azim Fahmy will go first, Ajayi, and then they'll finish with the 200-meter specialist, Maka Charamba. The big fella will bring home the baton in the anchor leg position. But there's a lot of great teams in the 4x1 here, but keep your eyes on lane number 7. That's LSU. The LSU defending champion Tigers, and they just don't want to win here. They want to break their own NCAA record.
And then the collegiate leader by 1/4 of a second. But a big advantage for Auburn and Kentucky being inside them to see to gauge where they're at and take advantage of any mistakes. Action in the middle of the track. Auburn in 5, Kentucky in 6, LSU, the defending champions, in 7. Pretty even through the first 100 meters.
Well, good run for Fahmy there in Auburn, and a nice exchange there for both Auburn and Kentucky.
Still very even down the backstretch, maybe a slight advantage to Kentucky. Auburn passing first. Still very close. LSU trailing slightly. And Auburn getting the stick first. Here comes LSU. LSU with Godson Ogunbrume trying to run his team into an automatic qualifying position. He does so. Auburn wins it. But Ogunbrume gets LSU up for the second automatic qualifier. And Kentucky, just a couple hundred seconds of a second back, are going to have to wait to see what the next 2 heats produce in terms of time to see if they get through as a time qualifier. School record for Auburn in winning that heat.
Look at that time. Outstanding run there for the Auburn Tigers. They got things going with Azim Fahmy. There you see him 3rd from the top, and he separated a little bit from the Kentucky Wildcats just on the inside there. Excuse me, on the outside. But LSU had a good run on the outside, but they just got the baton so far behind. And Charamba, he brings it home for the Auburn Tigers. Look at the power. We're going to get to see him in the 200-meter open. That's Kennedy Leitner for the Kentucky Wildcats, and Ogunbrume. Just too much room to make up there at the end for the LSU Tigers.
So the Leroy Burrell coached Auburn Tigers win the heat, automatically qualify, school record. LSU just by 2/100ths of a second get the second auto qualifier. Kentucky at 38.78 has to sweat out 2 more races to see if they will get through on time. So we are off with a lot of speed, which is what we'll see a lot of today. Of course, men's semifinals today, women's semifinals tomorrow. They got here by having regionals 2 weeks ago and defined it, or distilled it, I should say, down to the top 24 athletes and relay teams in the country. So this is about the national championship title as a team, but so many great individuals across the board, not only for the teams in contention, but also other teams. And this is an Olympic year. So we're going to see a lot of foreign athletes on these teams who we'll see in Paris, along with a lot of collegians who are going to vie for the U.S. team in just a couple of weeks right here.
Well, and outside the team title, we got individual titles. We're going to name All-Americans here as well, but somebody that a lot of people have been looking forward to seeing is CMW, the Georgia Bulldog, Christopher Morales-Williams, the great 400-meter runner. He came on to burst onto the scene at the SEC Indoor Championships, and then he would go on to win the NCAA Indoor title. And believe it or not, this is his first time in Eugene, Oregon, and Hayward Field. He would love to sweep the indoor and the outdoor 400-meter titles. And you know what? Leo the German is back. The great decathlete out of Germany, now a Texas Longhorn, Leo Neugebauer, the NCAA record holder, NCAA champ from last year. He looks poised to not only defend his title, but to get 10 crucial points for the Texas Longhorns.
And these distance events are going to be electric, all championships long, starting with qualifying the preliminary heats today. The University of Washington will look to continue their middle distance dominance. This trio right there has won the last 4 NCAA titles at 1,500 and in the mile. That's Joe Wascom, Luke Hauser, and Nathan Green. And then for the 800 meters, it is Sam Whitmarsh, who has been the collegiate leader all outdoor season long, captured the SEC 800-meter title after 2 years of battling injuries. He's now aiming for his first NCAA title. He is also among those top 5 hopefuls at this distance who will be back here at Hayward Field for the U.S. Olympic trials in just 2 weeks.
All right, so that's a good overview of what to expect today on the men's side, the semifinals. Now we're ready for heat number 2 of 3 in the 4x100-meter relay. In lane 6, that is the University of Southern California. They are number 9 time in the country this year. They are the Pac-12 champions.
Well, there you see Max Thomas. He'll run second leg for the Trojans. He's also entered in the 100 meters and the 200 meters. Jacob Andrews, a freshman, he'll go third. And then Johnny Blockberger, the 400-meter specialist and the senior, he'll anchor that Trojan squad. And I talked to the USC coaches, and they said if we can get through, we'll see a different lineup in the finals. Auburn has flexed their muscles, but another team that comes in here with a lot of pride, especially in the 4x100-meter relays, is the Houston Cougars. They go with Irian Brown, the senior up front, and then Louis Hinchcliffe, who is having a dream season in the 100 meters. He'll go on the second leg. He ran outstanding at the regional meet. And Sean Maswanganye, the senior and the team captain, he'll bring it home for the Cougars. And they are wearing their red today, so they will not be hard to miss.
Georgia is a scratch in lane 3, which means that Christopher Morales-Williams won't have a chance to get 100 meters under his belt. There's Carl Lewis, the head coach at Houston. He and Leroy Burrell coached there together until just a couple of years ago. So 2 of their great relay teams on the fields here today trying to qualify. Auburn has already done so. USC in 6, Houston in 7, and Arizona out well in that first leg.
Well, good passes by both the Houston Cougars and the USC Trojans here.
Houston making a move. Good relay baton exchange. Arizona hanging in there. Here comes USC, but right now it's Houston. Houston passing first. Sean Maswanganye on anchor, but down there in lane 4, San Jose State making a run. Here comes USC. It's Houston and USC with the 2 automatic qualifying positions. San Jose State making a real run until about 40 meters from the finish line. But Houston and Southern Cal through easily, automatically first and second.
Well, you see this. You see the strength of Sean Maswanganye there at the end of that of that 4x100 meter run, but Houston been so consistent, and you know what you're going to get out of a Leroy Burrell coached Auburn team. You know what you're going to get out of a Carl Lewis coached 4x100 meter team. Good passes. Carl takes this 4x1 team all over the country, pin relays, and he just showcases them all year long. But here you get a chance to see Louis Hinchcliffe there. He's third from the left. That outstanding transfer from Washington State University. Good exchanges here by everybody, but nobody was looking on the inside. San Jose State, they snuck in to run a fast time, but the power at the end just overtook everybody. That's Sean Maswangane and Johnny Blockberger bringing it home for the Trojans, the automatic spot, and the Texas Longhorns not far behind. They would love to get in the finals here.
Season best for the Trojans with Johnny Blockberger on anchor. There are the times. San Jose State at 38.69. They're hoping to hang on to that final time qualifier. The bubble is 38.75. So Arizona is hoping that all the 3rd through 6th places in heat number 3 don't run faster than 38.75. They will get through. They were an early leader in that second heat. So Auburn setting a school record. Leroy Burrell, of course, the Olympian, former world record holder, now at Auburn. School record for that quartet. And Carl Lewis, he just coached his 4x100 meter relay team into the finals. He has been a head coach at Houston for 2 years since Leroy Burrell left for the head coaching spot at Auburn. It's great to see those two great champions going head-to-head with their teams. As we're now ready for the 3rd and final heat of these 4x100 relay semifinals, and Florida will start out in lane number 5. They were runner-ups in this event last year.
Always a solid 4x1 team coming from the swamp down there, and to win a national title, not only as a team, but in an individual event, you got to know how to win, and the Florida Gators, they are experienced in winning. And they always, whether it's 4x1, 4x4, but there you see the lineup. Javon Powell, he'll go first. Robert Gregory, the 200-meter specialist as we know him, he'll go on the outside. And Mr. Everything will run second leg. That's Wanye McCoy, the junior. And Smith Band, the freshman. They put a freshman there in on that 3rd leg. But there you see Robert Gregory, just a little bit of a shakeout at the end. Keep an eye on Texas Tech. You know, Texas Tech was that team that we thought won the 4x100 meter relay last year in Austin. Oh, what an upset that would have been. But they were disqualified ultimately, but man, they ran fast. But look at that squad. Sean Brown and Terrence Jones. We haven't called his name all season long because he's really been struggling with some hamstring issues, but he said he's feeling much better. He got to the regional meet and got into this, got a chance to run a couple of races. They're going to put him on the relay and see what happens. But that's Antoine Andrews, the 110-meter hurdle specialist, who will anchor for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. There
is the lineup with Florida in 5, Texas Tech in 7. Remember the bubble time, 38.75. If you are 3rd, 4th, or 5th, you want to make sure you run faster than that in this heat so that you can get through on a time qualifier.
Well, North Carolina A&T, they're a really solid squad, and also South Florida positioned right in the middle of the track. They're going to close with Abdul Rashid Saminu, an outstanding sprinter who's really come into his own late in this outdoor season.
Once again, Florida in 5 in the blue, and Texas Tech in 7 in the mostly black. A little bit of a long hold there, but everybody off cleanly. Florida looking good in 5, but Texas Tech probably has the lead at this point in 7.
Well, great handoff by the Florida Gators. That's what you come to expect from them. They get the baton in Wanye McCoy's hand, and look at him go down the back straight.
McCoy really making a difference for the Gators here. Another good pass for Florida, but Texas Tech still out there. Florida making up the lead. Florida passes first. Robert Gregory, and for Texas Tech, Antoine Andrews. And South Florida trying to get in there as well. Tech outleans them for the auto qualifier second spot. That might be 200ths of a second, maybe less. Florida through cleanly, easily winning the heat, but very close between Texas Tech and South Florida for that second automatic qualifier.
Oh, and Texas Tech gets it. Your eyes are better than mine, Dwight. I didn't know who got that second spot, but outstanding running by the Florida Gators. And look at those times, 38:45. Here you see Robert Gregory bringing it home for the Gators. It's great to be a Gator today, but look at that battle for second place. That's Saminu. We're going to see him both in the 100 meters and 200. And Antoine Andrews, look at that dip right at the line. Tell me these guys don't work on this and bring it out when they absolutely need it. Here you see the final exchange by the Florida Gators. That's Malik Smith Band. Nice high hand there by Robert Gregory. That is how you make an exchange in the 4x100 meters, but look at the power and the strength by Robert Gregory to bring the Gators home. He had a head of steam and he said, easy now, I got this one.
Just 1/100th of a second separating second from third, and they broke a lot of hearts. Florida winning it in 38:45. That's their best time of the season. Texas Tech get through. South Florida also got through on time. It is going to be a hot 4x100 meter relay on Friday. There are the qualifiers. It took 38:69 to get through to the final, and the Spartans from San Jose State made it through. Next up, the first of two heats in the men's 1500. It should be a hot one. A lot of Washington runners in that second heat. Stand by. Championships, heat one of two of the men's 1500. They're the collegiate and meet records. The collegiate leader, Colin Salmon, he is in heat number 2. But this heat number 1, Laura, is really a replay and the rivalry from the SEC between Parvesh Khan, the fabulous freshman from Florida, and Anas Asai of South Carolina.
Anas Asai, a Tokyo Olympian. He also competed at the World Championships for Morocco, a 2-time SEC champion. He was the runner-up at the SEC Outdoor Championships in the 800 and the 5K. Did not run the 1500, so we'll see if that pays off for him as he gets now to his specialty of the 1500. Then Parvesh Khan, the phenomenal freshman out of Florida who swept those titles of the mile and 1500 at the SEC Championships this year.
12 runners in each of these two heats. The first 5 across the finish line automatically qualifying to Friday's final. Then the next 2 fastest times over the 2 heats. So you got to try to run honest if you're not in the top 5, because you're going to need to get advanced by time. As you see the competitors, like I said, there's 24 athletes who got here to Eugene from the regionals, East and West regionals, 1 in Arkansas, 1 in Kentucky. And now they're really just cutting this field of 24 in half, trying to advance 12 runners to Friday's final. Parvesh Khan, as usual, in the back of the pack.
He really likes to rely on that ferocious finishing kick that we have seen on display throughout his season. I like where Anas Asai is creeping up and making his move. He's really developed as a tactician over the last 3 years, not getting too tied up, not getting tied up on the rail as he experienced when he was part of the World Championships here just a few years ago. He's in a phenomenal position. Also loving the running right now of Gary Martin of Virginia. Back during the indoor season, he was right in the front pack with 50 meters to go and then got tangled up, went down to the track. So he was in fantastic form at the NCAA Indoor Championships back in March, has continued to progress from that over the outdoor season.
61.5 for the first 400. That's Damian Hackett, the junior from Cornell, currently leading. Gary Martin of Virginia is there, as is Thomas Palfrey of Oregon. Home crowd will like that. There's Anas Asai now moved up to 4th. Parvesh Khan still keeping his powder dry there on the outside. Now making his move down the home stretch to get better position, but also staying out of trouble by running in lane 2.
Liam Murphy of Villanova looks incredibly comfortable. The 8-time Big East champion and cross-country All-American, really relaxed behind Gary Martin. Seeing a little bit of traffic there. That's Anas Asai and North Carolina's Ethan Strand battling it out to try to get there behind the lead pack. That's what you often see in these heats. They're so incredibly strategic. No one is out running fast. You have this type of traffic in there in those bunches, which gets really really risky. Nick Foster of Michigan now right in it. This is where somebody needs to start making a charge to get some separation. Honor Society doing a good job of staying out of that trouble up front.
2:02.5 at 800 meters. A Society now dictating the pace. Kahn still well back in about 7th or 8th position, running extra distance to stay out of trouble. Remember, he's a freshman. This is his NCAA debut. This is different than the conference, albeit he's in a tough conference in the SEC, but this is a different kettle of fish moving up to the national championship level.
There goes Liam Murphy right up into the front, looking to make his second NCAA Outdoor 1500 Finals appearance after finishing 11th last year in this event.
Florida staking a lot of its team title hopes on Parvesh Khan getting through and scoring a lot of points, but it doesn't look like he's got the move he normally is. Still plenty of time, but now they've turned up the heat. They definitely are turning it over. Khan's got to get himself up into the top 5 to automatically qualify. He's leaving it awfully late, even for him, as he now starts to charge from the outside. Asai, he has got clear running in front of him. Here comes Khan on the outside. Strand is there as well. Remember, top 5 automatically qualify. And Khan races himself. No, he is 6th. 3:39.67. That's a pretty honest 1,500-meter heat. But he has to hope the second heat doesn't go faster, or he's going to find himself watching this final on Friday from the stands. Liam Murphy winning the heat. Asai safely through. But I just did not see that move from Khan with 300 meters like I'm used to.
53.5, the close from Liam Murphy, and Parvesh Khan had a little trouble, got boxed into some traffic at the NCAA qualifying meet at the regional. But look at this up front. This is where the experience comes into play. All of those guys up front have been at this level, have been at an NCAA outdoor championship before. So you see how those tactics and maintaining your poise, being able to take a move, make a move, take a risk at the right time comes into play. Anna Asai ran really smart. So did Liam Murphy. Ethan Strand, outstanding in qualifying as well.
That was Damian Dilcher of Iona who outleaned Parvesh Khan for that 5th automatic qualifier. So we'll keep an eye on things. The bubble is 3:40.82. Khan has got to hope heat number 2 does not go faster than heat number 1, or he is out of luck in his first appearance at the NCAA championships. Okay, it's track and field. And we're going to go over to Dan and give you a little bit of field.
Well, the first concluded field event of these championships, the men's hammer in the hammer throwing theater just south of the main stadium. This is Kenneth Akeji, the junior out of Harvard. On his 3rd attempt, he would blast one out there. 253 feet. He was the Ivy League Outdoor Champ. He's a Penn Relays champ. He was last year's NCAA defending champ, and he would finish 2nd today. But this man would bring home a title for Cal. The senior from Cal, Rowan Hamilton, also from Canada, Pac-12 outdoor champ, the last Pac-12 outdoor champ. He threw in the 2023 World Championships, but he threw a bomb out there. He'd get a personal best in the 3rd round, 253 feet, 2 inches. He's a 3-time NAIA champ out of Canada as well. But congratulations to the Cal Bear, following in the footsteps of Cameron Rogers, who won the women's title here a couple of different times.
2 inches separating first from second at the national championships. That's pretty typical of the high level of competition here. So it's not like Washington doesn't have enough good runners. They qualified 3 of them here, but they're all in the same heat. What the heck is that?
I asked their coach, Andy Powell, about that, and he said, well, hey, it's just how it fell. This is how we're going to have to handle it. And these guys are used to running in the finals all together in a pack. That's typically how they like to force the field to run their race. So they're very comfortable in doing exactly that, as we saw on display at last year's outdoor championships. There is, of course, the indoor champion at this event. That's Luke Hauser, 2-time indoor mile champion. He was the first back-to-back winner at that event since New Mexico's Josh Kerr, a name to watch at this event when you're talking about the Paris Olympics upcoming. Joe Wascom, of course, the outdoor champion 2 years ago. But if you're hoping that this Heat goes slow. No such luck because you have the collegiate leader from Northern Arizona, Colin Solomon, and then you also have Wisconsin's Adam Spencer, who's the Australian national champion, all in this heat. This second heat is so loaded with incredible talent at this event, and unfortunately somebody's probably not going to get through if they don't take care of business and keep this pace honest.
Nathan Green, the defending champion, of course, we saw in the beginning. He was in there. 3 Washington Huskies in this heat. Top 5 across the line, automatically qualifying through to Friday's final. The bubble, 3:40.82. If you are 6th or slower, you better hope that this pace goes quickly so that you can get through on time. That is, you can see Luke Hauser right there with the W on his chest. There's 3 of them in this race.
Elliott Cook of the home Oregon Ducks right up there. He has his teammate in this heat as well. That's Reinhardt Harrison back a little bit. So 2 Oregon Ducks. You also have 2 from Iowa State in this heat as well. So if you like running with teammates, this is the good heat to be in, right?
Yeah. 61.5 for the first 400. 5 representatives from what will soon be the former Pac-12. 2 Oregon, 3 Washington. As Solomon staying back, so not pressing the pace. That has to make some of the runners from heat number 1 very happy.
Colin Solomon has had a phenomenal outdoor season. The collegiate leader, number 2 in collegiate history, running 3:33.96. He, of course, had a spectacular high school career, so knows how to rise up for high-level championship competitions. And you're starting to see him make a move right there into lane 2, looking really relaxed, looking down, just kind of gauging his positioning a little bit as he is really smart. He's not making one bold move to try to surge to the front. He's picking off a few athletes at the time, but watch where Adam Spencer is of the University of Washington right now. Wisconsin, excuse me. Thank you so much. Yes, so many Washington, so many Wisconsins, but yes, Adam Spencer won the Australian 1500 championship, and he said there was no pressure. He had everything to gain, nothing to lose. He beat out Olympic finalist Ollie Hoare at the Australian Championship as he is making his bid to represent Australia in Paris.
They were under 2 minutes at the 800-meter mark, quicker than heat number 1. Solomon, like Parvesh Khan, staying out of trouble in lane number 2. Nathan Green almost going out into lane number 3 so that he has room to run. There's the bell. There's a lot of runners in contention at this point, including 3 Washington athletes. Remember, the first 5 across the finish line automatically qualify to Friday's final.
And Green has a threatening closing kick. Last year when he won, he went sub-52 on the final 400. Here they go.
2:57 at 1,200 meters. As the Washington Huskies are making the move. There's Solomon now challenging for the front. Still plenty of athletes in contention for those top 5 spots. I count 6 right now in that group. Someone is going to be out of luck unless they are running faster than they did in the first heat. All 3 Washington athletes are in that group. And one of the Washington Huskies out of that top 5, but that was a faster heat than heat number 1, which means Parvesh Khan may not be making it through to the final.
And it looked like if you watched Joe Wascom and how he eased up as Rope from Iowa State came in, it looked like he was very aware of that clock and not needing to exert any more than necessary. Great run by Elliott Cook here in front of the home crowd at Hayward Field. Dwight, you said it. Right there you got 6 guys, 7 if you count Rope up there as well, who are all fighting. Coming down to a closing kick, you can see a lot of them looking around, trying to gauge exactly where they are. That's exactly what Wascom did. You nearly had a blanket finish among 5 guys to the close. This is going to be an absolutely electric. There will be fireworks with a heavyweight bout for the 1,500-meter title coming up on Friday.
No way to predict if that will go fast or if it will go tactical with this group of runners in the final. All 3 Washington Huskies getting through. The hometown Oregon runner making it through, Elliott Cook. Plenty for the crowd to be happy about. Here are the advancers to final. And you can see just how fast they had to run. 3:37.25 for Cook in that second heat. And Joe Wascom of Washington, the final qualifier at 3:37.93. First time under 3:39 for everybody to get through, and they were all under except one, 3:40.07. Amazing 1,500-meter heats. As we will move along, they are putting up the barriers, and we will come back and give you 2 heats of the 3,000-meter steeplechase. All right, next race on the track, the 2 heats of the 3,000-meter steeplechase. Same qualifying criterion as you see the collegiate record that is now sneaking up on 50 years, 46 years it's been since Henry Rona ran that time. Also the meet record, Nathan Mountain is in this very first heat. He is the collegiate leader. First 5 across the finish line, automatically qualifying. The next 2 fastest on time over the 2 heats.
Mountain making his second NCAA steeplechase appearance after finishing top 5 last year, earned 4th place and All-American honors to see the 2-time ACC steeplechase champion. You also in this heat have Parker Stokes, the senior from Georgetown. He has a phenomenal personal best of 8:18.88 from the Outdoor Championships 2 years ago right here at Oregon.
12 athletes. Here are the competitors. As I mentioned, once again, the top 5 finishers automatically qualifying through to Friday's final. They bypass the water jump the first time around because it's an inside water jump here at Hayward Field.
Dwight, you set up that Nathan Mountain, of course, collegiate leader, and when he ran that 8:20.68 to break the Virginia program record, it was a 12-second personal best for him. So you're talking about someone who had great success in this event last year and has continued to reap immense rewards over the course of the 2024 outdoor season. Keep your eyes there on Eastern Kentucky just next to him. That's Hakeem Abu-Zuhair. Second in the NCAA so far this season when you look at the performance list. 6th in this event last year, and Eastern Kentucky has been a factor at the steeplechase for years and years. A very strong steeplechase program. They had Ahmed Jaziri, a champion from Eastern Kentucky, here just 2 years ago.
So Mountain dictating the pace early on. This is their first time through the water jump. Those hurdles, or barriers I should say, and water jump are 36 inches high for the men.
As you're taking a look at the field, you can note that's Cole Matteson of Colorado right there. Great shot of him with the buffalo there up front, the black jersey and the darker shorts. Native of Carmel, Indiana, but describes himself growing up as a missionary kid, so lived in China for the first 2.5 years of his life and spent summers with his family in conferences in Fort Collins. So that's initially what took him out to Colorado. Then in 2020, when the pandemic shut everything down, he and his teammates drove 18 hours out to Colorado to just spend time training, and then has had a fantastic career so far for the Buffaloes. Also competed at the World U20 Cross Country Championships, part of the U.S. team that took the bronze medal there.
Currently on 8:35 pace, pretty pedestrian for these athletes.
Matteson getting caught up over that barrier right there, but recovering very well. That's Brett Gardner, who is there up front of NC State. He was 3rd in the steeplechase at the ACC Championships. There we see navigating that water jump well.
So pace is established. They're through the water jump twice. We will step aside for a moment or two, and when we come back, give you the conclusion of this first of 2 semifinals in the steeplechase. All right, so quite a development during the break as we see Hakeem Abu-Zuhair of Eastern Kentucky, the senior from Morocco, now with a nice 15 to 20 meter gap back to the pack. Just to refresh your memory, the first 5 finishers in this first of 2 semifinal heats will automatically qualify through to Friday's final. They were on 8:42 pace, but now he has kicked it up to 8:38 pace. but probably the chase group a little bit slower. Everybody jockeying for position to make certain that they are where they need to be off the final water jump in order to be an automatic qualifier.
That commanding lead he built thanks to a 67-second lap while we were away. So that gives you kind of an idea of how he's picked things up and separated himself. But the rest of the group doing a great job of staying in contact. Now that's what you need to do is, if you're in that pack behind him, not fall off. Just a sub-67 last lap for Abu Zuhair. His coach, Corey Erdman, says he's just worked so hard to get to the United States and have the level of success that he has enjoyed so far, but certainly looking to improve upon it after finishing 6th in this event last year. 2nd fastest this season in NCAA competition behind Nathan Mountain. Mountain running very comfortably back there. Parker Stokes of Georgetown has looked really in control throughout the course of this 3,000 meters.
They're coming up to the bell, and that group of 6 or 7 behind Abu Zuhair is going to have to start making some moves and separating themselves if they want to be in those automatic qualifying positions.
Alexander Korzeniowski from Northeastern among that lead chase pack, made a bold move right there to jump up to front, get on the rail at the bell lap. Great positioning for him as they come to the back stretch. Now starting to see some movement. I believe that should be Stokes of Georgetown.
Stokes lingering back and forth for position, now gotten into the front of that chase pack. Mountain is there. Gardner appears to have fallen off a bit. Starting to make up a little bit of that gap. Abu Zuhair just has the water jump and one barrier to navigate.
It looked like he was a little bit more strained than he likely would have been, or likely would have liked to have been coming into the final 200, but stretching it out right now, getting into a bit more of a sprint to the finish. Now who's coming in behind him?
And those are 7 total athletes looking for 5 automatic qualifying positions. And that's very close for that 5th and final spot. We will sort that out in a moment, but there's no doubt about Hakeem Abu Zuhair, the senior from Eastern Kentucky, with the number 2 time in the NCAA this year, winning the heat. 8:32.58. He broke away with about 3 laps to go and created quite the gap and hung on for the victory.
Which was an incredibly smart move when you look to the chance everyone else left it up to in the final 150 meters after that last water jump. Look at how everyone is looking around. Nathan Mountain glancing around to be sure he's in comfortable position, and he was. And meanwhile, Abu Zuhair cruises through an absolute dogfight to the finish right there. Look at how close it was for that last spot. I believe that's Levi Taylor of Montana State looking at the lead. And then Iowa State's Gable Seperda.
Korzeniowski just 0.02 of a second off the automatic qualifying spot, so he's got to sweat through the next 10 or so minutes while they run Heat 2 to see if his time of 8:33.13 is going to advance him on time. There are the results. And I'm talking about that difference between 5th and 6th place, just 2/100ths of a second separating Levi Taylor, who is an automatic qualifier through to Friday, and Alexander Korzeniowski, who must wait and sweat out heat number 2.
Another one.
So why we have a second, we got Capital One cut men's and women's standings. You can see that Michigan on top on the men's side, well over Clemson and UConn and South Dakota State. On the women's side, Stanford just a 1-point leader over Texas, with Florida State and South Carolina well back. That encompasses all sports across the NCAA throughout the year. So Heat 1 in the books of the 3,000 steeplechase. Now we're ready for 12 more athletes on the track in Heat number 2. Headlined by Victor Kipiego, the junior from Texas A&M, the transfer from UTEP.
Making his 2nd NCAA steeplechase appearance. He was top 3 last year, finishing 3rd while with UTEP, a winter semester transfer. Came in and won the SEC steeplechase title this outdoor season.
steeplechase.
Also, Yassine Sato from Virginia just saw his teammate qualify through in the first heat. Two-time ACC steeplechase runner-up.
You may get tired of me saying it, but it's worth repeating how these athletes will qualify through to Friday's final in these round races. The top 5 finishers automatically qualifying through to Friday's final. Then the next just two fastest times over the 2 heats will qualify by time.
Notre Dame's Tom Seitzer in his 3rd NCAA steeplechase appearance, but aiming to make his first final, and that's James Corrigan of BYU. You have 2 Cougars in this field. This has been a big event for the BYU program under Ed Eystone, with Kenneth Rooks winning it last year. Sato in great position, and he has really come into form as you have gotten into this NCAA championships calendar. He won the East Regional in a personal best time of 8:27.13. So coming into top form at exactly the right time, putting his fitness on display to qualify for the NCAA championships, bringing in tons of confidence.
Today is the mildest temperature-wise of the 4 days that we will see. So even so, I would think that this is a little uncomfortably warm for these distance runners, and probably getting a little refreshment from going through that water jump 7 times.
And then the shade you get here on the home stretch as well. Seeing a little bit of bouncing around there by Victor Shitsama of Oklahoma State. And at the Big 12 championships, he really swung wide on the last water jump and may have cost himself the victory. So looking to run much more strategically. Shitsama was 7th in this event last year. Really felt like he could have had a top 5 finish at that championship. You can see him there toward the back of the pack in the white jersey, orange shorts. You can never miss that OK State orange, right, when you're in these big packs. So Shitsama raced a lot less this outdoor season to prime himself coming into the NCAA championships.
They're on 8:38 pace, but we've seen how that can pick up. The bubble time 8:33.43, and I'm sure the athletes in this heat are aware of that. Those who are finishing outside the top 5 really need to be aware of that. So here's the pace established once again. They're through the water jump for the 2nd time. We will step aside once again and return with the finish of this 2nd of 2 heats of the steeplechase. So while we were away, one of the favorites in this 2nd semifinal heat of the steeplechase, Texas A&M's junior Victor Kipyego, dropped out of the race. Don't know why. Let's take a look back and see if we can figure it out. Look to the right of your screen.
Right there on the rail, looks like he got a little bit caught up, and leading into the SEC Outdoor Championships, head coach Pat Henry said he was battling through some nagging issues. It was a little bit touch and go whether he contested the SEC championships just a couple of weeks ago. They didn't want to jeopardize it and keep him healthy, so not sure if that injury at all contributed to what he experienced there, but just an incredibly disappointing turn of events for him. Such a talent.
And it looks like whatever he was dealing with, he probably took more steps on the inside of the rail, realized he was going to be a DQ, no reason to continue.
Meanwhile, this Notre Dame duo has done a phenomenal job up front. That's CJ Singleton and Tom Seitzer. Also, you have BYU and Virginia right there up front. BYU's James Corrigan right there in the thick of it. Victor Shitsama of Oklahoma State as well.
And they have picked it up to 8:34 pace, which is matching pretty close what the first heat ran. So we may get time qualifiers out of this one or the other one, or a split between the two as they're coming up to the bell lap.
And they were on about 8:33 pace, so that should be faster than what we saw in that first heat, thanks to a more honest pace and just having more guys up front. Look at the running right now of Portland's Estanis Ruiz, fighting his way up into 2nd. still, you have 7 guys fighting it out over the final 400 meters. Can Notre Dame get 2 into the final?
C.J. Singleton continuing to lead. Estanis Ruiz of Portland, the pilots from Spain, the junior. He looks like he's ready to challenge. Again, it's just being in the top 5 in this semifinal heat. That's where you want to be, and there's 6 athletes truly vying for that spot, maybe 7.
Corrigan is a great closer. Look at that on display over the last barrier. And that was Victor Shutsama who went down.
8:28.83, so faster than heat number 1, but the finish was more spread out as well. So James Corrigan comes down from the altitude of Provo, Utah, here to Hayward Field and takes the second semifinal heat.
And you can just see Victor Shutsama, what a rebound for him to be able to recover and even finish, but just caught himself, did not get enough height over that barrier. That's one of the risks that you face in the steeplechase, that fatigue setting in and just purely not getting enough power over that hurdle. When you get that lactic acid in the legs, he would get up and finish 7th in that heat, 8:35.30.
Not quite fast enough to qualify. Here are your advancers to final. And we haven't mentioned much about the wind today. There is wind down on the infield. We just can't gauge how much of it there is and how much of an effect it's going to have because we haven't had a race that is affected by it back. And when we come back, we'll take our first look at this band. The phenomenal Leo Neugebauer, the senior from Texas, a contender for an Olympic medal. He is going to be in the decathlon when we come back.
Welcome back to Hayward Field on the campus of the University of Oregon. It is the 2024 NCAA Track and Field Championships. And listen, nobody gets to this meet without being really, really good. But even among those athletes, some stand out as special. Like, let's talk about Texas decathlete Leo Neugebauer. He is the collegiate record holder. He is the defending champ. He is disgustingly polite. He is super nice. He likes a glass of rosé. He likes a rom-com. He's big, he's fast. Listen, if Michelangelo was alive today, I think he would sculpt Leo instead of David. Dan O'Brien, the slingshot is not one of the deck events as far as I can tell. I mean, they do throw stuff and he's good at that. But take us through what he's done so far on his first day because, listen, I'm going to give some away. He's really good, man.
Well, and it's great to have him back. He could have left school a year ago, but he decided to come back. There you see the decathletes get together. They get together before the competition, after the competition, and they're together during as well. But Aiden Owens-Delerme, he set a national record a few years ago. Kyle Garland after him, but Leo Neugebauer has taken this event to a completely whole new level.
Yeah, winning this title this year would mean the world to me just because it's my very last competition in college. And college so far has been a great experience. I loved every second of it, and I had my ups, my downs and stuff, but from the downs you just learn. And yeah, everything has led here, and I'm just excited to be healthy, to be able to compete and just put on a little show.
Well, they put all the fast guys in the same heat, and this is heat number 2. There you see Leo Neugebauer in the middle of the track, lane 6. He always is working on his start, but there you see Peyton Bear of Mississippi State on the outside. Look at him go. He's dropped some weight this season, really worked on his sprinting technique, and Peyton Bear runs extremely fast, and Leo Neugebauer not far behind, just 3/100ths off his all-time personal best, so that's an outstanding start for him. Peyton Bear would win the heat going 10:30. And that would be a personal best for him, and not just a personal best, but the new decathlon 100-meter record. He takes it away from Ashton Eaton right here in Hayward Field.
Thank you, Dan O'Brien. Thank you, Dan O'Brien. Quick, let's take a look at the top 5 teams by the rankings as we roll in here and the number of athletes they've brought. Arkansas, number 1, 13 athletes. And listen, they're still kind of salty after being the runner-up last year and the indoor this year. Bama's got 11. The key there, though, 7 of their guys are top 5 seeds. Florida's the 2-time defending champ. They'll be around. USC, 13 Trojans at these championships and vying for greatness for the Pac-12 one last time. And then the Aggies of A&M, they're in the hunt. Not a lot of room for error with any of those, but it certainly smells a lot like the SEC. But there are some Pac-12s here as we get ready for the 110 hurdles. We thought we'd bring in one of the premier 110 hurdles, not only in college, but in the history of American hurdling. Devin Allen is here, coaching at Navy, where you're training right now. Quick, the guy you have in the first heat, I need to look for.
Yeah, quick shout out Bramir Vic. He's in the first heat, lane 9. My training partner, great kid, and I'm excited to see what he does today.
Where are you? We got the trials coming up. You've had some injuries. You've fought through. Like, are we going to see you in a couple of weeks?
That's the goal. Coming off a knee injury this football season, rehabbing, feeling good. You know how it goes. Though you just got to get that rhythm, find that rhythm. And the trial is only about 5.5 months post-op, so we're still training towards that. But we only got about 3 more weeks till then, so we'll see.
Actually, I don't know how it goes. So I'm going to trust you with this thing. You've already been on 2 Olympic teams. A third would certainly be great. You got 2 NCAA championships. What was it like as a freshman to come in here and run this race?
Yeah, scary for sure. A lot of pressure coming to your home track at U of O and trying to perform well. Especially that year we won the NCAA title as a team. But all these guys have done it before, and they're ready to go, primed, and their coaches got them ready. And it's going to be a tight race because, with the hurdles, the barrier's in the way. So you never know what could happen. And you see a lot of surprises in meets like this.
Devin Allen, good to see you. Thanks, man. Go sit up in section 222 where they got a giant picture of you up there, man.
That's my section, yep.
Yep, just use discount code Allen. Dwight?
All right, John. Devin Allen trying to get it together in time to be good at the trials in just a couple of weeks from here. First of 3 heats of the men's 110-meter hurdles are the collegiate and meet records, both held by Grant Holloway, the silver medalist from Tokyo and twice the world champion. Jacob Tharp is in this field. And there is the defending champion, Arkansas senior from Jamaica, Philip Lemonius.
Well, we weren't sure we were going to see Philip Lemonius this outdoor season. Didn't run any races, is in a grad school program and didn't finish one of the courses, and he didn't get a chance to be eligible. But now that semester is over, he shows up at regionals, gets qualifying time, and here he is to defend his title. Here's Johnny Brackens, the Pac-12 110-meter champ. He'll be doing double duty. We'll see him in the long jump as well. The long jump goes off in just about a half an hour's time, and Johnny will be using this as a warm-up. But there is the man that everybody's talking about this season, Jacoby Tharp, the SEC champ in the 110s. And Coach Ken Harnden says this kid is just different. He is such a competitive guy, and it doesn't matter what you're competing against him in. He wants to beat you, but he just wants to be as good as he possibly can. And, I asked him if he was too young to feel pressure. He said, no, this kid feels the pressure, but he just relishes it.
In these straightaway races, the top 2 finishers automatically qualifying through to Friday's final, then the next 3 fastest times over the 3 heats to make for the 9-runner final. Brackens in 2 on the inside, Lemonius next to him, Tharp in the middle in 5. Lemonius out a little bit late. Tharp had a great start. Jacoby Tharp, Lemonius is way out of it right now. Johnny Brackens going well. Now here comes Jacoby Tharp. Here's Tharp across the line first, Lemonius last. So he qualified to get here through the regionals, but was not able to advance. As Jacoby Tharp, 13:18 in that heat, followed by Johnny Brackens at 13:37, who just outleaned Matthew Sophia of LSU for that second automatic qualifier.
Wow, Jacoby Tharp, just look how smooth he was in this entire race. Good start by Johnny Brackens on the inside. And Joanna Hayes said Johnny just needs to run under control. There you see Jacoby Tharp. He didn't get the best start in the middle, but just look how smooth he runs the final part of this race. He just stays within himself, stays within the bubble, just picks him up and puts him down in between, and that was an easy victory for the freshman out of Auburn. And he ties his season best there with 13:18. There you see Johnny Brackens. He got a little bit wild there towards the end of the race, but he was able to hold it together and qualify through in the number 2 spot. 13:37, outstanding time for the Pac-12 champ on the inside.
And that 13:18 that matches his lifetime best was with just a little bit of wind, 0.2 meters per second. So Tharp really on a roll. Johnny Brackens just outleans Matthew Sophia for that second automatic qualifying position, and Philip Lemonius in his final collegiate race ends up last. Getting ready now for heat number 2, and that is Texas A&M junior Jaqueline Scott. He will be in lane number 5. He will also be running the 400-meter hurdles later this afternoon.
Well, and it's interesting. This is the first time that we've seen Jaqueline Scott without his teammate Connor Schulman, who had a bad run at the regional meet. But Jaqueline Scott, he showed great fortitude at the SEC championships when he fell in the 400-meter hurdles, and he came back and did well in the 110s. But he really managed the rounds at the regional meet and got through. And here's Darius Luff, only one of 2 Nebraska Cornhusker runners here present. They got a ton of field event people, but they're short on runners. But Darius Luff, there you see 2003, 2024 Big Ten champ. He's been really consistent the last couple of years. We've seen him in all the big finals in the last 2 years. And there we see Jason Holmes of North Carolina A&T. 100-meter champ. I think that's a Colonial Athletic Association there. But he'll represent North Carolina A&T, where Alan Johnson now is the head coach. And you would expect North Carolina A&T to continue to produce great hurdlers. First it was Dwayne Ross. He's producing great hurdlers. Now you got the 3-time Olympian and the Olympic champion there as the head coach. North Carolina A&T is in good hands.
So the action's in the middle of the track. Jason Holmes, Jaqueline Scott, and Darius Luff. Luff, always a guy who makes finals, whether it be indoor or outdoor. Remember, just the top 2 finishers automatically qualifying through to Friday's final. Bubble is 13:46 after 1 heat.
Ooh.
Well, we'll have to see if that is a violation or if it was just a timing issue. Hate to get all the way to the NCAA championships and get thrown out for a false start.
Well, that's Giovanna Waring, the sophomore from Wisconsin, this year's Big Ten runner-up. He was the indoor champion at the Big Ten conference meet. He was the one who really stood out in my eye. I see an official out there with a red card. Lane 2, Elijah Morris of Arkansas.
Well, they both were moving. Both Morris and Waring were moving.
But the senior from Arkansas will exit the competition there, and that hurts. Your last NCAA championship, you finish on a false start.
And also with Arkansas very much in the hunt for the team title on the men's side, that's an athlete, if they got to the final and finished, they're going to score a point. So now there are 7.
Well, Darius Luff, the fastest seasonal best of everybody in this field, 13:25, and he always raises the level of his competition when he races faster people.
Plus, he's been in the final. He was 6th here last year. Scott with a decent start. Luff with a better one, though. It's Darius Luff. Luff leading. Now here comes Scott. It's Luff and Scott, and those are going to be your automatic qualifiers right there. And on the outside in lane 9, John Adesola of New Orleans really leaning hard for that 3rd spot, hoping that the time will translate. 13:31 for Luff, 13:37 for Scott. So those are your automatic qualifiers. And they really broke free from the rest of the pack. Jason Holmes really never in the hunt.
Well, the senior from Nebraska is just so seasoned. He's running a lot of big races this season. He was 2nd to Jacoby Tharp at the Florida Relays. But there you see the start you know, Darius Luff, he didn't need to get a fantastic start. He just is such a controlled hurdler here. He hits the first couple of hurdles. There you see Jaheim Stern of LSU really get off track. But I like what Luff does here. Shoulders forward. He continues to run and power down the track. There you see him in the middle of the track. There in the dark uniform, and he's not the fastest guy out of the blocks, but man, he does a really good job of coming off the hurdle and getting his feet down and running to the next hurdle. Jaqueline Scott there next to him on his left. Looked like if there was a little bit more space in that race, he might have been able to catch him, but a nice run by the senior from Lincoln.
So very clear between first and second automatic qualifiers. Adesola at 13:56, already over the bubble time of 13:46, so no time qualifiers from heat number 2. So third and final heat, getting their blocks set. And I can feel a breeze blowing up from that last heat. They said it was a 1 meter per second tailwind, so a little stronger than heat number 1. There is Devion Wilson of Houston. He will be in the center track in lane number 5, the number 2 time in the NCAAs this year.
Well, last year, you see there, he was the runner-up, like you said, Dwight. I spent some real quality time with Devion over the last couple of days, and he's just such a likable guy. But his coach, Drew Fucci, formerly at Rice, now at Houston, says Devion's the kind of kid that just doesn't get rattled. Guys can get great starts ahead of him. He can be behind in races, and he just doesn't panic, and he reels them all in. But he's got an amazing story where he took half of his sophomore year off to care for his mother, who was in a motorcycle accident, and made his way back to University of Houston with the support of Carl Lewis, Leroy Burrell, and the rest of that Houston staff, and they welcomed him back. In the last 2 seasons, he's really come on. And I got a chance. I asked him, I said, well, you know, who's your hurdling hero? And he said, Grant Holloway. And just luckily, yesterday, I got a chance to introduce those 2 guys right here, just below our position. And I think Devion was pretty happy about that. But he knows Grant Holloway is in the house, and watch him bring it. But really fun athlete to watch. And you know, I think the sky's the limit for this young man. Drew Fucci said he just keeps running faster each and every week. And there we get a chance to see Jordana Woodley of UTEP. And let's see, he goes in lane 4. Conference USA 60-meter indoor champ, DQ'd outdoors. This is NCAA debut. It took him a long time to get here, but finally he gets here in his junior year. And I ran into this young man yesterday, Malachi Snow. Look at that guy. Mountain West champion, 60 meters hurdles, 60 meter dash, 100 meters, 110 meter hurdles. And we haven't seen a combination like this since Terrence Trammell, a guy who both is good in the flat and over the sticks. But a lot of people are citing this young man as somebody to keep an eye out on over the next couple of years. There you see his teammate from San Jose State just inside of him, Demarius Waters.
And Snow helped his team get his relay into the finals for Friday. And right after this hurdle race, he has to go right back up the track because he's in the first heat of the 100 meters. Good start for Wilson. Devion Wilson now taking over the middle of the track in the red of Houston. It's Wilson. And lane number 3, that's like Malachi Snow, very close between him and Samuel Bennett of Howard for that second automatic qualifying spot. Wilson winning the heat at 13:34. It's taken a moment for the come up. It is Malachi Snow who gets that second automatic qualifier over Bennett by 2/100ths of a second. A nice warm-up for Snow. As I mentioned, he is in the first heat of the 100 meters, which is the next race on the track once they get the hurdles off.
And those officials wanted him to hit through the tunnel with the rest of the athletes. He said, no, I can't. I got to go back to the start line. Good start for Malachi Snow on the inside. Long strider goes to 7, gets a little off balance. But let's check the middle of the track. This is Devion Wilson. They just talked about how smooth of a runner he is. Look at that. He clips a couple of hurdles, but he easily gets through. Class of the field there, and he'd look back on that and say it wasn't his cleanest race, certainly. But the key for him is to Get into the hurdle quickly, stay with it, snap out. He looks left, and he's got to be happy just finishing first. Not his best race of the season, but a good run nonetheless.
Well, after seeing heats 2 and 3, Jacoby Tharp, the freshman from Auburn, who matched his lifetime best at 13:18, looks unbeatable for Friday. But you know what? A lot can happen in 2 days. There are your advancers to finals. 13:46 is what it took. Samuel Bennett making it in that last heat in third place. So there it will be your field for Friday's men's 110-meter hurdles. Well, as I mentioned, the men's 100 is next. And Malachi Snow, who is a qualifier to the final, they said, yeah, you got to exit with everybody else. No, I got to go back. Yeah, I got to go back. He's next. Back in Eugene, Oregon for our coverage of the men's semifinal days of the NCAA Track and Field Championships. Here are the collegiate and meet records. Collegiate leader in the men's 100 meters. The next race on the track. Team Honors McCollum is in this field. And world champion Christian Coleman, the collegiate leader. And there is Favor Ashe, the junior from Auburn. We did not see him in the 4x100 meter relay for the Tigers, but he is the co-collegiate record holder and two-time SEC champion in this event.
Well, we didn't see him on that 4x100 meter relay that Auburn looks so good in, and Coach Ken Harden said we just wanted him to concentrate on the 100 meters. We didn't see him at the finals at the SEC meeting. He's, to say it gently, he's fragile. You know, he comes up with a lot of injuries, and they just want to get him through a meet healthy. This young man's no doubt going to be running this summer, but there you get a chance to see Favor Ashe. We'll see what kind of shape he is in here. There's Max Thomas from USC, and Max Thomas said he was so close to being UCLA Bruin. His dad was a track athlete at UCLA, and he said it was always his dream to be a Bruin, but it wasn't. He didn't know until they came calling. They came calling, and he said, "You know what? I had to go ahead and do it." But his main sport was soccer for a lot of years. It wasn't until the senior year that he's really decided to take track seriously. And there's Malachi Snow, who just finished qualified in the 110 hurdles. Back at the start of the 100 meters.
And he helped his San Jose Spartans get into the final at the 4x100 meter relay. Max Thomas, son of Henry Thomas, a legendary Hawthorne High School 400 meter runner and sprinter back in the day, and also a great UCLA Bruin. That's amazing when you have a UCLA legacy and you lose them to the Trojans. But here we are. First of 3 semifinal heats, same qualification criteria as the 110 hurdles. The first 2 finishers automatically qualifying to Friday's final, then the next 3 fastest times over the 3 heats. Favor Ashe in the middle of the track lane 5, bookended by Max Thomas on his left in 4, and Malachi Snow of San Jose State in 6. Ashe with a good start also for Thomas. There is Ashe, but down in lane 3, Max Thomas making a good move. It's going to be, it's going to be Malachi Snow. No. Canyon Sola Ajayi, the freshman from Auburn, wins the heat in lane number 7, 10:09 with a .3 trailing win, just a zephyr behind him. With Beard of Northwestern State coming up as second, and Favor Ashe third. That's a non-qualifying third. And he's got to hope that 10:13 holds up as a time qualifier. It looked like he let up the second half of the race thinking he had it in hand.
Well, Ashe, he did a really nice job of accelerating there, reaching his top speed. And it didn't look like he was in any kind of stress or duress. But I think he saw his teammate off to the right and said, you know what, I think the Auburn Tigers here go 1-2. And they weren't expecting somebody on the inside there. But Ajayi, maybe the biggest surprise in the SEC Indoor Championships this year, winning the 60-meter hurdles. But there's Zacchaeus Beard of Northwestern State. A good run for Ajayi there on the outside.
So Ajayi and Beard automatic qualifying. Ashe has to hope that the wind doesn't start to blowing people behind too much. And Malachi Snow, after a great relay and 110-meter hurdles, finishes last in his heat at 10:60.
All right, over to the long jump in the decathlon, almost a men's decathlon, but you need to say that. And we're on Leo Neugebauer watch, but hey, there's some other guys in the competition as well. This is the SEC champ, Jack Turner, the senior from Arkansas. Arkansas always puts a lot of weight on the shoulders of the multi-events to score some points early, help those Razorbacks win titles, and they did that at the SEC Championships. So that's a third-round attempt for Jack Turner, 24-2 1/4. And he is off and running, and this is a great find for the folks down there in Coral Gables. Edgar Camper, just a sophomore, has not done a lot of these events, but full of promise. And there's a good-looking jump by the sophomore. Third attempt, he goes 23.9 for 871 points. And Camper, the ACC competitor, is off and running. And here's Leo Neugebauer after 2 subpar efforts, a foul in the first round and only 24.9 on the second round. He is a 26-foot long jumper. Here he is on his third and final attempt, and he would stretch one out. 7 meters 80, right in there, 25.9 1/2, and he would continue to stay on pace for a big score. So Neugebauer and the rest of this decathlon field are through the first two events.
Second heat of the 100 meters now on the track. And we're focusing in lane 4 to the senior from Houston and South Africa, Sean Maswangani, who we will also see in the 200 later in the evening. Houston just joined the Big 12, and he swept the 100, the 200, and was in their 4x100 winner as well.
He had a ball at those Big 12 championships, like you said, 1, 2, 4x1, and just taking down the Texas Longhorns in there. Well, Houston's their first year in that conference. With Sean Maswangani, the team captain for Houston, he really makes things go. He's been a big brother to this gentleman right here, Louis Hinchcliffe, the transfer from Washington State University. He had a fantastic conference meet. There's Carl Lewis, the coach, and I asked him about Louis Hinchcliffe, and he says, you know, the lights really came on for Louis Hinchcliffe at the Penn Relays. Sean Maswangani was a little banged up, so they didn't run him, but Hinchcliffe stepped up, won the Penn Relays 100 meter, and things really started to happen after that. Faster times and faster times. He went up to Coach Carl and said, Coach, I think I got it. And there you see Wanye McCoy. And I got a chance to just exchange some text with him. And I said, your goal here at the NCAA Championships? He said, win the 1 and the 2. Simple as that. Win them both.
Well, with Mike Holloway's 1,500 meter runner, Parvish Khan, out of the final, he needs for the rest of his squad to step up. And Wanye McCoy is certainly capable. He is all over the track for the Gators. So it's Maswangani in 4, Hinchcliffe in 5, and McCoy in 7. Only 2 can automatically qualify through to the final. Good start for Maswangani in 4, also for Lance Lang in 3. Here comes Maswangani. Hinchcliffe is also trying to get into that top 2. It's going to be Hinchcliffe win the heat, and it might have been McCoy out-leaning Maswangani. McCoy with a late charge in blue in those last 15 or 20 meters may have pushed Maswangani into a situation where he needs a time qualifier. Looking at the final, it looks like Maswangani got it. And McCoy just 100th of a second back. That bright blue just flashed into my eyes as he ran through in lane number 7. So it's McCoy that's got to sit back along with Favor Ashe from heat number 1 to see if they can make it on time.
Well, there you see Lance Lang in lane 3. He did get out to a good start, but this is what the Houston Cougars do. They really are patient in the 100 meters, and they want to reach their top speed later in the entire 100 meters, and this is what Louis Hinchcliffe did at the regional championships as well. He just got his timing absolutely perfect, where he was just hanging on to his top speed right there at the end, just a little bit better than Maswangani. And there'll be some discussions on how Sean Maswangani is going to run this final, but Louis Hinchcliffe is absolutely in a groove. Conference meet, goes to the regionals, and he backs up those fantastic times he ran at Arkansas.
Well, it just tells you how hard it is when you get to this level. Wanye McCoy and Favor Ashe from heat number 1 have both got to sit back and wait for this third heat to go, hoping that their times hold on to be advanced. It was, by the way, a 0.3 meter per second wind on that one, so the wind is not an issue with these times or these performances in the straightaway races. Not hurt by wind, not helped by wind too much either. All right, we're getting ready now for the third and final heat, and this heat featuring LSU junior from Nigeria, Godson Ogunbrume, and he has quite a lot to live up to. The relationship with his sister is quite interesting, as she is really the star of the family.
Most of the time when I look for advice and stuff, like, she always be there for me, and she's really the reason why I started running track. Because as a child, just seeing my sister at the world stage and being out there representing the country and stuff, that just motivated me to, you know, want to be out there too.
His sister, a long jump Olympic silver medalist and bronze medalist and a world championship silver medalist. So a lot to live up to in the Ogunbrume family. He will be in lane number 7, just a junior, twice the SEC outdoor 100-meter champion the last 2 years.
Well, and he comes in here with a lot of swagger. You know, I asked him, you know, what does he want to do? And he said, man, I'm here to win it all. You know, he wants to continue to live up to that LSU Tiger tradition, certainly. But he just seems to peak at the right time each and every year. We don't see him in the middle of the spring like we do a lot of these other guys running fast times. But come SEC championships, NCAAs, we absolutely see his best. There we see T-Mars McCallum. He holds the collegiate best time in the country this year with Faber Ashe. He ran that just 1 week after the Tom Jones Invitational at South Carolina. He's trying to find the form that he showed there in late April. It's an outstanding starter. But Tennessee did not get the baton around in the 4x1 relay, and there is a newcomer, somebody that we're getting a look at for the very first time. The American Athletic Conference champion, 1-2 4x1 champ, Saminu Abdul Rashid. Keep an eye on him. He has absolutely won everything in that conference this season, indoors, outdoors, and he was the NCAA Athlete of the Week in the first part of May.
So the bubble is 10:22, and some pretty good athletes that are sitting back and waiting to see what happens here. Faber Ashe, Wanye McCoy, and Lance Lang. As we look at Godson Ogunbrume in lane 7, he'll be third from the left. And T-Mars McCallum next to him on his left in lane number 6. T-Mars with a good start. In lane 8, it is Abdul Rashid. Abdul Rashid is going to win the heat, and in second is going to be Godson Ogunbrume, getting the second automatic qualifying spot. So the newcomer, the sophomore from South Florida and Ghana, winning that third and final heat, 10:14. Ogunbrume at 10:23 gets an automatic qualifier. So Faber Ashe, Wanye McCoy, and Lance Lang, nicknamed the Swiss Army Sprinter by Dan O'Brien, gets through and will score points for Arkansas.
Well, I don't think we saw Godson Ogunbrume's best race there, but I'll tell you what, Saminu Abdul Rashid, he continues to impress there on the outside, but he has set South Florida records in the 100 meters, 4x1 in the 60-meter dash, and he continues to roll through this outdoor season. I think he shocked everybody in that race, but he got the top speed and just carried it all the way to the finish line.
Our statistician Tom Lewis just reminded me there are 9 finalists, only 8 scores, so someone's got to be last. But there are your advancers to final, including Ashe, McCoy, and Lang, all on time, and all a bit of a surprise to have not made it through on automatic qualifiers. All right, so the hundreds are in the books for the semifinals. The next guys on the track, the quarter milers, 400-meter runners, always exciting here at Hayward Field. All right, next races on the track. Men's 400 meters, 3 semifinal heats. There are the collegiate and meet record holders, Michael Norman, the world champion, and Christopher Morales Williams, of Georgia and Canada with the fastest time run. Real quickly, let me make a correction. In the 100, Max Thomas is not the son of Henry Thomas, the great Hawthorne runner and UCLA. He is the son of Brandon Thomas, who's a coach at Servite and at Rosary. So I want to make that correction. There is CMW, and he has been nothing short of a surprise and spectacular all year.
World best indoors, NCAA indoor champ, SEC outdoor champ. He ran that fastest time, 44:05 at the SEC championships. But at the regional meet, he did just exactly what he needed to do to get through. But he is unbeaten outdoors in the 400 meters. And he doesn't seem to be fazed by it. In his press conference, he was kind of excited. He said, "It's my first time in Eugene, Oregon, and my first time at Hayward Field." But this kid has got a ton of confidence right now. Every time he steps on the track, it's something special.
And he is far from a classic-looking 400-meter runner with his technique. But when you think he's going to tie up, he just finds another gear in the home stretch. His arms are going side to side, but he just keeps going forward. He will be in lane number 6. Outside him, Ahmad Robinson, the junior from Texas A&M, who is the runner-up at the indoor 400 back in March. And like all the lane races, top 2 finishers automatically qualifying through to Friday's final. Then the next 3 fastest times over the 3 heats. And CMW already making up the stagger on Ahmad Robinson to his outside.
Well, and that's what they teach you at the University of Georgia on the track and field team, is to get out and establish yourself in that first 100 meters. And CMW did a great job in that first 100.
Down on the inside, Jamel Miller of Campbell also going well. Jaden Smith of San Jose State. Jamel Miller of Campbell coming off the turn first. Here comes Christopher Morales-Williams with a late charge to his outside, Ahmad Robinson. They will finish 1-2. It will be Williams winning the heat with Robinson second, but they were not in the leading positions coming off the curve. That is for certain. 44.96 for CMW, 45 flat for Ahmad Robinson.
Well, and I'm really not sure that CMW wanted to run that 400-meter race quite like that. He went out hard in the first 100, and when you go out hard and you establish a rhythm in that first 100, you just can't back off too much. If it feels good, just stay with it. But he looked like he really backed off in that middle 200 and had a little bit of work to do. There you see Ahmad Robinson on the outside. He said the key to his success this season was just doing something wild, really going out hard at the NCAA Indoor Championships, just taking a chance. His conditioning held, and he was able to finish runner-up to Christopher Morales-Williams. And all this outdoor season, he's had really great confidence. There you see E.B. Emmanuel Bynum of Tennessee there in the middle of the track trying to get to the line and get through as well, as that Tennessee 4x1 team did not get through. So a little bit of redemption on the mind of the Volunteers. But CMW, the heat winner, and those types of runs, Dwight, hurt.
Well, I got to think maybe some wind came up or something, because those times are a little bit slower than I expected them to be. But Bynum, Kent, and O'Brien have got to wait through the next 2 heats to see if their times will qualify through as we get ready for heat number 2 of 3. And this heat, we're featuring Caleb McRae, the senior from Alabama, 3rd at the SEC Outdoor. That's where he ran his personal best.
Well, Caleb McRae, part of just a phenomenal 400-meter hurdle group at Alabama. And Coach Blaine Wiley says, you know, we're positioned. We're in great position to win a national title, and everybody's got to contribute. Caleb McRae is one of those guys. He's had some troubles indoors and ran some tactically unsmart races, but he always shows up at the championships ready to go. One of the oldest guys on that Alabama squad. There you see Javon Powell. Really just, I would say Javon is like the most natural quarter miler that the Florida Gators really have. They got a lot of guys that can shuffle around 200 meters, 400 meters, but Powell probably just more of a 400-meter specialist, but he has also had some just strategic issues in the 400 meters. And, you know, this race just isn't about getting out there and running as fast as you absolutely can. There is a lot of strategy to it and how you run this race. And if you don't execute it correctly, you could find yourself behind. And keep an eye on, lane 6, Samuel Agazi. We all certainly know Tarsus Oregot. We'll see him in the 200 meters. But Samuel Agazi, Coach Blaine Wiley said he came in a lot like Tarsus. Had never lifted a weight, couldn't do a V-up, couldn't do hardly 10 push-ups. They got him in the weight room. They really started to push him in the workouts. And here late in the season, it's really been showing. He had an outstanding showing both at the SEC Championships and the NCAA Regional East Region.
Just 18 years old, youngest to ever run sub 44.6. Just 2 days after his 18th birthday. So someone to look for and might be on that Nigerian Olympic 4x400 relay team as we look at Javon Powell from Jamaica, who did win a silver medal on Jamaica's World Championship 4x400 relay back in 2022 right here in Eugene.
Well, another athlete who has gone under 45 seconds in this heat, down in lane 3, the Arkansas Razorback James Benson the second.
Top 2 finishers automatically advancing. Early on, the bubble is 45.87, sure to get lower over these next 2 heats. I can feel the breeze up here. We are well above the track, but it is picking up.
Stand up, please, stand up.
Some may have had some timing issues. They have the athletes stand up. Refocus themselves. Javon Powell of Florida in the blue of Florida today in lane number 4. He'll have a little bit of an advantage with Caleb McRae and Samuel Agazi to his outside early in the race. So Antoine Norquia of UCLA being told he needs to follow the commands a little more quickly.
On your mark.
Norquia of UCLA, member of the South African 4x400 relay that won the silver at the World Relays just a couple months ago.
All these athletes, they want to be the last ones to get into the blocks and establish a nice, quiet, solid on your marks position. And when you're down there and you're racing, it seems like an eternity before they call you to the set position.
So we're off cleanly. Powell in 4, McRae in 5, Agazi in 6.
All right, Caleb McRae is not wasting any time as he comes up on the shoulder of his teammate Samuel Agazi, and the two of them look like they're just pulling away from Javon Powell as they get to the 200-meter mark.
Agazi went the first 150 meters like he was half asleep, but now he's engaged. It's McRae and Agazi, and now here comes Powell with a late charge after the 200-meter mark. Powell on the right in the blue. He and McRae come off the turn together. Now Powell into the lead. Agazi now making the move. It's Powell of Florida and Agazi of Alabama. And those are your automatic qualifiers. 45.14 for Agazi, 45.17 for Powell. And it was McRae who was well back at 45.76. And that will lower the bubble time.
Well, just 2 different strategies here. Caleb McRae really goes out hard in that first 250 meters, and Javon Powell and Samuel Agazi, they were really chill. And at the 200-meter mark, then they begin to build, and look at the momentum they carry over the last 100 meters. There you see James Benson of Arkansas on the inside. Look, he'll overtake Caleb McRae for 3rd, but a good run. But just nice patience there by the freshman. And Javon Powell as well, good momentum in that last 100 meters. Javon Powell just kept on driving with the arms all the way to the finish line.
So the freshman from Alabama with a slow start finishes strong, gets the automatic qualifying in first place. Javon Powell just 200 to the second back. Caleb McRae still inside the bubble, but with 1 heat remaining. So while we have a second, the NBA Finals start tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific on ABC with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and the Celtics taking on Luka, Kyrie, and the Mavs. Our Game 1 coverage tips with NBA Countdown at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. So the third and final heat now on the track. And that is lane 6. That is Judson Lincoln, the fourth. And when you get to the fourth, you got to say it. From Virginia Tech, the sophomore, just 19 years of age, 5-time ACC champion already, and number 5-time in the NCAA this year.
Man, talking to him yesterday, I said, what happened this year? You're absolutely on fire with in the ACC level and then at the regional meet. And he said, I didn't make this meet last year. And it just really drove me. And, he's not the only one in this heat that sat at home and watched the NCAA championships just to his outside. Johnny Blockberger said, just imagine a year ago I was sitting on the couch eating a sandwich watching the NCAA meet, and here I am. But nothing can inspire you more than missing out on the championships. And Judson Lincoln said, I didn't want to sit home again. And man, he has just gone to another level. And I thought at the Eastern Regional, if there's somebody who's going to challenge CMW, it's going to be just Judson Lincoln. He ran really smart races, looked outstanding. A couple of rounds in 145 low, and then he went 44 high there in the final round there at the Eastern Region. He's coming in here with a lot of confidence. There's Justin Robinson, Arizona State Sun Devil. Been struggling this year with some hamstring injuries and just hasn't been quite right, but he managed to go to the regional meet and get qualified. But that kid has a lot of experience. Pan Am Juniors, Pan Am Seniors. We saw him win an USA Indoor Championship, but he has been a stalwart and a guy on that 4x100 meter relay team for ASU. But they ran 3 flat without him this season. That's how good ASU is in the 4x4. But Justin Robinson once again toes the line at a major championship.
You just can't impress upon young people how important it is to get to as many levels, as high levels as you possibly can in order to have that experience and be conditioned to it. Because eventually, if you're good enough, you end up at the Olympic trials and maybe the Olympics, the World Championships. The first time, it's always tough. Nothing worse than sitting home watching a meet you should be in. So middle of the track, Justin Robinson, the junior from Arizona, in 5. Judson Lincoln, the 4th, the sophomore from Virginia Tech, in 6. Well, even so far.
And I was going to say, Johnny Blockberger just looked like he got a little bit of a lead there, but he's now settled in on the back straight, but he looks like he's running very well.
Very close for first right now between Blockberger, Lincoln, and Robinson. And it's going to be Lincoln and Blockberger come off the turn first. Blockberger now making the move. And on the inside, here comes Justin Robinson. Blockberger trying to make that gap. It's going to be Blockberger and Robinson that get through for the automatic qualifiers. 45-13 for Johnny Blockberger. 45-21 for Justin Robinson, and with 45-42 for Judson Lincoln, the 4th. That time is going to advance him into Friday's final, along with Bynum of Tennessee and McCray of Alabama. Now he is out. We'll get that for certain, but a very well-run race by Johnny Blockberger to win that heat, with Robinson being towed along up that finishing straight.
Well, this is a finish, Dwight, that looks like these guys are dealing with a lot of wind. It just, they look tired. They look absolutely disheveled. Look at Johnny Blockberger. He's got to keep that head still, and Quincy Watts is going to tell him so, but he is so tired. But look at Justin Robinson. All that experience. He knew how to handle his body. He really came on strong in that last 100 meters. Good run by Judson Lincoln as well. But Johnny Blockberger, the son of a decathlete by the name of Sheldon Blockberger that I competed with during my career, and so it's fun to see some of the sons and daughters of some of the athletes that I competed against now at the NCAA championships. But Johnny Blockberger does a shield right.
Not his first rodeo. He's been here before with the relay team and in the Open 400. Here are the advancers to Friday's 400-meter final. It took 45-59 for Raheem Hales to get in to that final. But Christopher Morales-Williams with the fastest time. Can he run the table in the 400 as he gets ready to make that Canadian Olympic team? He's a phenom. Can he keep it going? Well, when we return to Hayward, it is going to be the heats of the 800 meters on the track.
Well, the Leo Neugebauer show continues. He's going to show you just how versatile he is. 10.6 in the 100 meters, 25.8 in the long jump. Now he moves, believe it or not, to one of his best events, the shot put. He's a big, strong guy, so you kind of expect that. But he would get things going right away in the first round. Look at the throw over the well over the 16-meter line, over the 17-meter line. He already owns the collegiate decathlon best in the shot put. But today he would go even farther. First round, 57 feet, 3.5 inches for 942 points. And here's Peyton Bear, the sophomore from Mississippi State. This is his third attempt. He blasts one out over there, just short of the 16-meter line, 50 feet, 4 inches. And that'll be a PR for Peyton Bear. And he's looking to slide into second position behind Leo Neugebauer. But Neugebauer now only 112. He's 112 points over that PR that he scored last year at the NCAA championships, and 233 points ahead of Peyton Bear.
All right, next event on the track. First of 3 heats in the men's 800. They're on the collegiate and meet record. Sam Whitmarsh is in the field. And in this first heat, we're looking in lane 5 for Wake Forest junior from South Africa, Reinhard Swanepoel.
And these rounds are just going to be absolute gauntlets because of how fast the men's 800 has been at the NCAA level. Swanepoel, the second fastest in the NCAA this year, won the NCAA East Regional. Also, Osama El Bushaibi representing Alabama. He, the transfer from Angelo State, where he was the D2 800-meter runner-up. He's kind of the wild card, a big factor for Alabama, and their team hopes for him to get through.
Qualifying criteria is the top 2 finishers automatically qualifying through to Friday's final, but the top 3 fastest times over the 3 heats that did not automatically qualify. So very much the same as the sprint races and the flat and 400 hurdles. Very tough. You got to be top 2 to be sure you're in the final, especially in the early heat when you don't know what's going to happen in the subsequent heats.
Keep your eyes on hip 3. That's Rivaldo Marshall, who was the indoor 800-meter champion this year from Iowa. It was a very tactical race. He displayed an incredible closing kick, really strong awareness, and then you have the duo from Iowa State there up front as well.
El Bushaibi in the lead with Marshall right at the bell. They go out in 52.6. So not blistering, but also not pedestrian.
In talking to coaches with athletes in each of these rounds, they're saying it all has to be quick because the talent level is just too high for anyone to wait around and just try to let the race play into their hands.
It seems a distinct disadvantage to be in the first heat of these 3 800-meter heats. You've got to go. There's Swanepoel now making a move to try to get in position. Again, there's 8 runners on the track, and you want to be in the first 2, and they're pretty tightly bunched.
Watch out for Finley McClear as well of Iowa State, third in the 800-meter final indoors. So he's very familiar with this field.
El Bushaibi trying to go wire to wire, but that's tough to do. Shane Cohen of Virginia just moves out to lane 3 and runs by everybody else on the finishing straight to win it. He splits it evenly, 146.94 for Cohen. Finley McClear of Iowa State getting that second coveted automatic position. Swanepoel almost made it all the way to the front, but ends up third. And El Bushaibi really paid a price for setting the pace and staying in the front.
Cohen came in with the third best time in the NCAA this year. He was second at the NCAA East Regional. That was a really tough regional. You can see that primed him well for the competition. Bided his time. Look how comfortable he is, able to glance around to see how much he had ensured the victory with a closing kick like that. He is going to be one to watch on Friday evening.
So Shane Cohen wins it from the outside, 146.94, with Finley McClear of Iowa State finishing second. And Swanepoel and Kipyego and El Bouchebe have to wait for the next two heats to see what materializes there. Moving along to heat number 2, and really the phenom of this season, the Texas A&M junior from Lake Jackson, Texas. There he is, Sam Whitmarsh. He was the SEC champion.
And after battling through so much adversity in the early part of his career, overcoming injury, illness, enduring a heart procedure to correct a heart condition, he is filled with such immense gratitude to be towing the line here in Eugene.
My goodness, after having some heart issues and going through heart surgery, I'm just, it's so awesome to be here and to be standing here right now. This is somewhere I didn't know if I was going to be or not after those procedures were done, and it was just such an amazing testament to everything happens for a reason, and just an awesome testament to my faith and to my teammates and to my coaches for all the training and hard work we put in to get here.
The collegiate leader all season, running 1:44.46 at the end of March, the 7th fastest time in collegiate history. We saw earlier those meet records that we had, the meet records set by Texas A&M's Donovan Brazier, who won an NCAA title here in Oregon. This is such a proud event for Pat Henry's Texas A&M program, but Sam Whitmarsh has to take care of business, advance on to the final. You saw how close things were in Heat 1. I don't expect them to be much easier to advance in Heat 2, as you're seeing Therese Roden from Clemson swept the ACC 800-meter titles for his 3rd straight ACC 800 indoor win. He was also 5th at the NCAA Indoor Championships.
Whitmarsh has a teammate in this heat, Kamar Farquharson, the junior from Jamaica, also in this heat. And they call it, Texas A&M, they call it 800U. And they just keep throwing half-milers at you every single year. They come up with more.
You have to look how relaxed Sam Whitmarsh is. I mean, he was smiling the whole way up to get in his lane, talking with people around him. He just has such a sense of calm about him to get to this point.
So once again, first 2 across the line, automatically qualifying through to the final, the next 3 fastest times. And Whitmarsh kind of in the middle of the pack as they break for the pole. Roden is up there near the front. Whitmarsh in the middle. Farquharson, Whitmarsh's teammate, currently in the lead.
Farquharson, incredibly talented. Coach Henry says he's a great competitor. He hates to get beat. He competes hard, even in practices. You think about the benefit of those two having one another. Sean Dolan getting a little tangled up there with Sam Whitmarsh as Villanova's Dolan moves his way up to the front. And now Whitmarsh is going to have to do a little bit of work to get up there. He has that long stride, doesn't want to get tangled up.
51.1 the first 400, so quicker than heat number 1. But this is where the work is done in this third 200. Whitmarsh in 4th currently. Now has some running room, now making a move down the back stretch to join his teammate and take the lead.
Nicholas Plant from Virginia Tech doing a great job of going along and covering that move behind Whitmarsh.
So Sam Whitmarsh, the junior from A&M, controlling the pace, through here into the final straightaway with his teammate Farquharson right there. Whitmarsh lifting. He's a big fellow, so any wind that's down there, he can't probably deal with it better than a lot of the others. Roden on the outside to grab that 2nd spot. So Whitmarsh and Roden, the automatic qualifiers from heat number 2. 146.01 for Sam.
And look at the reaction, all of the emotion. That is not just about that victory right there. That is about everything it took to get him to this point, to be able to vie for an NCAA title, and did it in an incredibly smart fashion, bided his time until the back stretch, had plenty of real estate to capitalize on, was able to use his teammate. Farquharson did a great job of setting that race up for Sam Whitmarsh, the healthiest he has been in his entire career. This is going to be a special race for him on Friday.
So Sam Whitmarsh winning the second heat, automatically qualifying through to Friday's final. Therese Rode making a big move the last 50 meters on the outside to grab that second spot. Kamara Farquharson, Nicholas Plant, and Sean Dolan are all time qualifiers if things were to end right now, but there is still one more heat to go. The bubble time, therefore, is 1:46.91. You got to be under that if you aren't first or second in this third heat.
Whitmarsh, too, we noted this at the beginning of the show, but one of the top 5 fastest among American men in the 800 so far this season, so he'll also be back here, but taking care of business. Sights are set first and foremost on this, and then move on to the Olympic trials. This is Camden Marshall, the Big Ten champion out of Indiana. He had a phenomenal qualifier in that NCAA East Regional, shaving nearly 2 seconds off his personal best to get here to Eugene, running 1:45.48. We talked about how fast the guys were in that first heat. Those were the guys that he was in contention with in the East Regional. And then Yusuf Bizimana, the 800-meter indoor champion from 2023 from the University of Texas. He and his teammate Cole Lindhorst went 1 and 2 in the West Regional to advance. Bizimana is so expertly trained in these types of situations, making his 4th NCAA outdoor appearance in the 800, 3-time finalist. He was second in this event last year in search of another title, and he considers this kind of the culmination of everything he has put into his Longhorn career. He came to Austin sight unseen from London, England, committed to the program, had belief in what he would be able to do both athletically and academically. He also would like to be one to represent in terms of the Paris Olympics if he can get the credentials to earn a spot on that team.
The bubble is 1:46.91. Marshall in 8. Bizimana of Texas, the senior from Great Britain, in lane number 6.
Also worth noting, that's Handel Robin of Penn State, who's right there up front. Easy to kind of identify him. He was 3rd in this event at last year's championship meet. Just behind Yusuf Bizimana, Camden Marshall doing a great job. The born and raised Hoosier from Corydon, Indiana, representing the IU program.
Pretty tightly bunched through this first lap as they come up to the bell. We'll see what the pace is. It looks pretty slow. In fact, it's very slow. No time qualifiers from this heat as Bizimana takes the lead. 55.3 for the first 400. This is going to be a mad dash the last 150 meters to get those 2 spots.
Bizimana has the kick to finish with absolutely anyone. His coach, Greg Metcalf, said he did the best workout of his life less than a week ago. He is in phenomenal form coming into the championship, as is Camden Marshall going with him. Bizimana was able to fend it off. You could see Marshall wanted to go to the rail.
But everyone has to know how much run there is in everybody after a 55-second first lap. Bizimana, a little bit of a gap with Marshall. Marshall trying to hang in there. Marshall not giving up. Marshall now into the lead, but it's going to be Marshall and Bizimana who get the automatic qualifying spots. 1:48.16, no time qualifiers out of this heat, so the 3rd through 5th positions in heat number 2 all will advance on time.
What a display from Camden Marshall, continuing upon that fine form he found continuing from the Big Ten Championships and the NCAA East Regional. Bizimana did a great job of setting this race up, stayed out of trouble the entire time, really controlled it. Marshall had to go a bit more into the well to make sure he had those top 2 spots to get himself on to the final. Look at how relaxed Bizimana is. Marshall digging deep. They will be into the final as we now have those 3 heats complete And Dwight, it's going to be fireworks on Friday.
I just don't know what anybody was thinking going out in that semifinal in 55 seconds after they'd seen what had happened in the first 2 heats. But that is what happens at this level. Here are your advancers to final. Sean Dolan with the last qualifying position at 146.91. Sam Whitmarsh, he is the leading qualifier, but anything can happen on Friday. So I always say, just get to the final, because once you're there, anything can happen. So the 800s are in the book. Next race on the track, 400-meter hurdles. So now Dan with the 4th event of the first day, the high jump.
Well, the decathletes competed in the high jump under beautiful blue skies. Leo Neugebauer said he was a little worried when he landed on Sunday and it was rainy and cold, but he finds himself in a little bit of trouble at 6'4 3/4, a manageable height. He gets to a 3rd attempt, but he would get over. Look at the relief, and I know what that feels like. Oh, 3rd attempt, make. You know, you put your coach in an early grave, but here is Peyton Bear. He stands number 2 after the shot put. His 2nd attempt, he'd bounce over 6'7". That's as high as he would go. Here's Austin West, somebody who we figure is going to be in the top few places here, but here he tweaked his leg in the high jump. That was a 3rd attempt at 6'7". That would be a miss, but he comes out of the pit very gingerly, and this is somebody who we look forward to every decathlon, seeing him run outstanding in the 400 meters, but we'll keep an eye on him. But here's Leo Neugebauer on his first attempt, 6'8 1/4", and he would get over that. And not only would he make that, he would make 6'9 1/2 for 868 points, and he would open up that lead even bigger over this field and Peyton Bear.
All right, so Leo with a healthy lead after 4 events in the decathlon as they've gotten all of the hurdles on the track. There are the collegiate meet record, Rye Benjamin, the Olympic silver medalist. And Chris Robinson is in this field. And also who's in the house, it may not be his event exactly, but it is the 3-time world champion, Grant Holloway, was also the silver medalist in Tokyo. He's here watching his Florida Gators competing. He had a visit with us in the booth at the SEC Championships in Gainesville just a month ago. And there's Sean Burrell. He won this race when he was a freshman and a sophomore. Had a hiccup year last year where he didn't make the final, and now back here in his senior year. You never know which Sean Burrell you're going to get, who's going to show up. He is certainly capable of great things if he is prepared and thinks that he can. Nathaniel Ezekiel of Baylor Bears, he'll be out in lane 7. Burrell will be in lane number 5.
Well, he's having a great season. Just a junior, he's got another year. Just imagine how good this guy is going to be in another year, but he's number 2 on the NCAA list right now. And he is positioned well. Lane 7, an outstanding lane here in the 400-meter hurdles. And Coach Blaine Wiley said, hey, don't sleep on my boy Corday Long, NCAA runner-up last year, but 2 opportunities for Alabama to get guys through here in the 400-meter hurdles. But Corday Long, he's a late closer. He just needs to keep in contact. He can be close to the leaders at 150 meters. He will reel them in.
Burrell in 5, Ezekiel in 7. And it's a lane race, so same criterion. Top 2 finishers automatically qualify through to the final on Friday. And then the next 3 fastest times over the 3 heats. In the 800, all those time qualifiers came from the 2nd heat. It's easy to see who's leading. Just see who goes over the hurdles first. Sean Burrell out amazingly fast. Already alternating. You got to know there's wind down there, Dan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think they probably have a little bit of a tailwind now, but as soon as they turn the corner, it will hit them in the face. But Nathaniel Ezekiel, he looks really strong right now. Corday Long up there as well, not giving an inch to Sean Burrell.
Sean Burrell not backing off. It is Ezekiel first over hurdle number 8, but Burrell second. Coming to 9, and it's Burrell first, but Corday Long not giving up. Ezekiel comes back, takes 10 first. Corday Long trips over the 10th hurdle, and that just killed his momentum. Ezekiel wins the heat with Sean Burrell second. Corday Long, who was making a move, clipped that 10th hurdle, and that just killed his momentum over the final hurdle. 48.93 for Ezekiel, 49.03 for Burrell.
Well, the times we've seen these 400-meter hurdlers run all season long has really brought us here to the championships, and everybody's kind of touting as this is going to be maybe the most exciting race in the finals on Friday. But it's interesting. Sean Burrell, when he won national championships in 2001, 2021, 2022, he was not in great shape indoors. And he comes to the outdoor season, he wins national titles. And over the last couple of seasons, he's been in really good shape indoors. And he didn't make the finals last year, but he looks much better this season. He runs himself right into the finals with that effort right there. Be interesting to see him win 3 national titles out of 4 years. But here you see Corday Long. Oh man, that 100 meters is so long at the end of this 400-meter hurdle race. But he did a really good job of recovering and just finishing this race. That could be the difference between him getting through and scoring some points for the Alabama Crimson Tide and not.
There are the official results. Eagle and Burrell automatically through. Long has to wait for the next 2 heats to see if that 49.51 will hold up and advance him into the final. Heat 2 on the track. Looking at lane number 6. Texas Tech Red Raider Jr. Caleb Dean, 2 times the Big 12 champion.
Well, and right now it's pretty exciting for these young American hurdlers in college right now. Caleb Dean is the number 3 American on the U.S. list. He's gonna get a chance to run himself onto an Olympic team in less than a month's time, but he is running really well right now, and he's probably, look at Caleb Dean, he's like one of the finest double hurdlers in the world, the 110 hurdles and the 400-meter hurdles, but he's just here concentrating on the 400-meter hurdles, and that tells me that he's going to run the 400-meter hurdles only at the Olympic trials. But he was such an integral part of that Texas Red Raider indoor NCAA team title. It was fun to see Wes Kitley win that, and there goes his teammate just inside of him. It's going to be like a training practice between these two, but a lot of international experience there with Oscar Edlin, under 23 Euro bronze medalist, under 20 Euro silver medalist. He comes over here to the U.S. to show us those talents that he had over there in Stockholm, Sweden. Let's keep an eye on Jaqueline Scott as well. Caleb Kavanaugh of Texas on the outside. But these times this year, Dwight, have just been absolutely amazing. Oscar Edlin in this heat goes 48.70, 48.05 for Caleb Dean. And a lot of guys have just run fast. This is just a really fun event to watch all season long.
Jaqueline Scott already a qualifier in the 110 hurdles. So Edlin in 5 and Dean in 6 with Jaqueline Scott in 7. Remember, just 2 automatic qualifiers. The first 2. The bubble right now is 50-15, but only 1 heat has been run so far. Good start for Caleb Dean, very aggressive out of the blocks, and he's over the first hurdle first. Making up the stagger to his outside on Jaqueline Scott.
Wow, what a start for Caleb Dean, easy.
And Jaqueline Scott is way back. Oscar Edlin also well in the mix. Dean and Scott. Dean and Edlin, I should say. Look at Caleb Dean. This is a big lead for the Texas Tech junior. 1 more hurdle to navigate. It's going to be a Texas Tech sweep in this second heat in the 400-meter hurdles. He really made a statement with that 48.05 semifinal. That's the fastest qualifier ever here at the NCAA championships in the 400 hurdles.
Well, that 48.05, if it holds up, it's going to tie to the 100th, his personal best. But just look at this finish, and you get a little worried about a guy that goes out this fast in the 400-meter hurdles. It's like, save some for the last 100. He got a little off balance, hurdling with his off leg right there, but he gets back in a rhythm with a right leg lead and just finishes. He was about 44 seconds at about the 3:85 mark. It's just like, finish this race. You just don't want to see anything bad happen to the guy up front like we saw Rachel Glenn at the SEC Championships. But yeah, you're absolutely right. What a statement that was here in the second semifinal.
Caleb Dean matches his lifetime best at 48.05. His teammate Oscar Edlin automatically qualifying at 49.44. And Jaqueline Scott at 49.93 is under the bubble, but just barely. He's got one more heat that he has to endure to see if he can get through on a time qualifier. Heat number 3, getting ready on the track. There is Chris Robinson. He is the defending champion in the event.
Well, and when I talked to him, he said he's here to defend his title. He's here to defend last year's win. He got caught by surprise at the SEC Championships by Aiden Owens-Delarme, but then he comes back. But this Alabama team got in late, really late on Monday night. They had delays on their flight, a charter flight, both the University of Florida and Alabama, and they didn't get to their rooms and get to bed till about 1 in the morning on Monday, but they had a good practice yesterday. But Chris Robinson is one of these guys who's led by example all season long, and you know you can count on him in the 4x400 meter relay as well.
Robinson will be in lane 6, and on his inside from Tennessee, the senior from France, Clément Ducot. He had a great race that he ran a month ago at the SEC Championships, running 47.69, and this is a little bit after what he had done to disqualify him. He had actually dragged his trail leg, and his lead leg went around a couple of hurdles. We saw it during the race. You can see it here. Lead leg doesn't quite go where it's supposed to go, and there was more than one violation. But we fully expect to see him on the French Olympic team. He didn't gain much of an advantage doing what it is that he did. His victory, of course, was vacated and disqualified. But here he is. He qualified through the regional, and he is full of run. He's got a personal best of 48.26, and this is part of his build-up to making that French team. Imagine what it would be to be a Frenchman competing in Paris for the Olympic Games.
Well, and he said it's easy to get excited about looking ahead. And he says he's just got to take one meet at a time. He said, Paris will come. I just need to take care of business here for the Tennessee Volunteers at the end of the season. But I'll tell you what, he dismantled the NCAA champion Chris Robinson at the SEC Championships only to get disqualified. And that was so heartbreaking. There's she, Rasheem Griffith, teammate of Clément Ducos as well. He was your runner-up after the disqualification, but look for Griffith to try to get through here to the finals as well. So I like the fact that Ducos, he said he wasn't really using that disqualification as motivation. He just was excited. That time was brilliant. And he said, now I know I can run that time.
Well, there's 3 very good hurdlers and only 2 automatic spots open. The bubble is 50.12, 50.12. So if you're third, be sure that you run faster than 50.12.
And Jaquan Hale of Tennessee also. So 3 volunteers here in this heat. Very similar to the Washington Huskies in that 1,500 meters, right?
That's right.
Well, it's got to prove that it's random. Griffith in 4, Ducot in 5, Robinson in 6. Robinson, the defending champion and the collegiate leader. Ducot and Robinson out very quickly. Griffith right there too. Almost no separation between the 3. Robinson with just a slight lead going down that backstretch, but what an advantage for Griffith and Ducot to see what it is he's doing. It's still Robinson. Robinson, Griffith, Ducot as they come to the 8th hurdle. Chris Robinson, the defending champion, now passed by Clément Ducot. And Griffith now fading. Ducot of Tennessee, first over the 10th hurdle. Chris Robinson just shuts it down knowing he's got an automatic qualifying spot. 48.62 unofficially for Ducot, winning the heat. with Chris Robinson finishing second. Corrected to 48.64 for the Frenchman. Robinson at 48.79. Jaquan Hale of Tennessee ends up third at 49.88. That's a time qualifier, which means that Rasheem Griffith is not a time qualifier.
Well, great start for Chris Robinson. He really pushed that first 200 meters, and it looked like he backed off. These guys made a little bit of a move, but smart running as well. Clement Ducot, he was in a nice rhythm, but you said he had a lot of run left in his legs after the SEC disqualification, and he absolutely did. Nice run by the two of them. These are the top two 400-meter hurdlers coming out of the SEC conference. Chris Robinson says, hey, you want the heat win? You take it. I'm through to the finals. But a nice run by Ducot. He was really in a nice rhythm. There's no reason for him to back off when you get into a rhythm, a nice rhythm like he had.
So Caleb Dean with the matching of his lifetime best to win his heat. He leads the pack going into the final. It took 49.93 to make it to Friday's final in the 400-meter hurdles. Well, next on the track, more speed. It's the furlong, 3 heats of the 200 meters for men when we return to Hayward Field. Back in Eugene, Oregon for more of our coverage of the men's semifinal day of the NCAA Track and Field Championships. The 200 meters next on the track, but let's get over just moments ago to Dan at Little Men's Pole Vault.
Well, this is Keaton Daniel, the senior from Kentucky, the NCAA indoor champ, and recently the SEC champion. This is his first attempt at 5'62", 18 feet 5 1/4 inches, and he would get over that on a first attempt. He had opening makes at 17.7 1/4, 18.1 1/4, and here firmly in the lead. He's the only athlete to negotiate this height successfully. 8 jumpers remaining.
And you can always watch the field events live as they happen on ESPN Plus. Every jump, every throw of the competition. These are finals for the men today. Every field event is a final. So the sprinters are on the track for the first of 3 heats of the 200 meters. And because it is a lane race, once again, the top 2 finishers will automatically qualify. There are the records. Walter Dick still holding that collegiate record. Tarsis Oregot is in this field. Top 2 automatically qualifying with the next 3 fastest on time. Robert Gregory of Florida, the senior, will be out there for the Gators in lane 4.
Well, remember, he came over from TCU 2 years ago. But Robert Gregory, he's the number 3 all-time Florida Gator there behind Fan Boulay and John Capel. But there's Maka Charamba, the big guy. He came onto Ken Harnden's radar just through a family acquaintance. And he said, you know, there's a big fella in Zimbabwe that plays rugby. He looks like a heck of a sprinter. And conversations began, and here he is in his featured event, the 200 meters. But Maka, big Maka, Ken calls him. Look at this guy. He ran great. He was the anchor leg for that Auburn winning heat in the 4x100 meters.
Ted Harnden, he is absolutely zoned in on Southern Africa and obscure finds that turn out to be very, very good.
Somebody also to keep an eye on there in lane 6 from Penn State, Chekna Traore, the junior college transfer from Ramapo, New Jersey. Ran really well indoors and some real fast times outdoors. We'll see if he can get through to the final.
Traore from the Ivory Coast. Robert Gregory can't miss him in the blue of Florida. He's making up the stagger on Maka Charamba to his outside. But it is Traore who's also going well in lane 6. Now here comes Charamba back. And no, Robert Gregory gets that second spot, but the heat was won by Dan's pick, Chekna Traore, the senior from Penn State. 20.02 with a 0.7 trailing win, so just a little over a mile and a half per hour for the senior from the Ivy Coast, winning that heat easily. Robert Gregory second by 1/100th over Maka Charamba.
Well, and I'll tell you, I don't care how good you are, what kind of a closer you are, you just can't give up this much room in the 200 meters. Maybe Joseph Fambelet could have come back from that far back, but look at Charamba try to make it up, but Traore on the outside, he just ran a really nice turn, and then he just stood up. And these athletes are enjoying a nice tailwind down that home straight. They're running directly into the wind about the first 30-40 meters, and then once they turn that corner, that wind is with them. But a false start at the Big Ten Outdoor Championships, but a runner-up in the 200 meters. He seems to be coming into form.
So Traore with a 20.02 with plenty of legal win wins the heat over Robert Gregory. They automatically advanced, and at 2016 it seems inconceivable that Charamba would not qualify on time, but there are 2 heats remaining. And looking at Heat 2, the aforementioned Tarsus Oragat, the junior from Uganda, representing Alabama. He is the Ugandan national record holder in the 100 and 200, and most certainly will be competing in Paris for his country.
Well, and asking Coach Blaine Wiley, I said, you know, what would you like to see from Tarsus Oragat? He said he needs to run the same race that he ran at the SEC Championships. It was absolutely flawless from an execution standpoint, an effort standpoint. And he said, you know, no bones about it. We expect Tarsus to win the NCAA 200-meter title. And he's going to have his work cut out for him. A lot of good guys in this heat. And he says, you know, everybody's getting hyped about the 100-meter times and the 400-meter hurdles, but the 200 meters is under the radar, maybe one of the toughest events at these championships. There you see Wanye McCoy. I asked him on the practice track yesterday, are you the fastest Bahamian in the world? And he looked at me and said, absolutely. And Sean Maswanganyi, the runner-up, man, he's gotten runner-up. He's gotten 3rd place. He's gotten 4th place, 5th place. Coach Carl said this guy has finished in every place over the last 4 years. It is about time that he won an individual national championship. He's hungry for one.
Got through in the 100 meters earlier. There are your lane assignments for the second heat. Somebody good is going to have to qualify on time because there's only 2 automatic qualifying spots available for these gentlemen.
We always know Oragat brings the socks with a little bit of character, and a quite popular character he has. A little SpongeBob SquarePants. It was Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, that's right.
At SECs, so it's always kind of, you know, indicative of his mindset that day.
It's got to be the socks. Oragat also drawing lane 5. Good spot for him with Wanye McCoy and Sean Maswanganyi to his outside. Away cleanly with a lot of noise in the background. Oragat not out that strong. Now he comes. Here he comes. Nick Harbour on the inside of Oragat giving chase. Wanye McCoy trying to race himself into an automatic qualifying spot, and he does so. Oragat, McCoy, Maswanganyi, and Maswanganyi once again has to sit back and wait to see if he can get through on a time qualifier. 20.09 for Oragat. 2022 for McCoy, with Maswanganyi just 300ths back, but in a non-qualifying position at this point with 1 heat remaining.
Well, Coach Blaine Wiley at Alabama, he said we like to think of the 200 meters as running up a hill in the first 100. Then when you get to the top of the hill, you run down the other side. You let your momentum take you, but you stand nice and tall. And look at Oragat. Nice forward lean there, just pushing all the way to the line. And I'll tell you, this is the 3rd race of the day for Wanye McCoy. He looked a little fatigued there in the last 30, 40 meters. But Oragat looked fresh, and I asked him, you're gonna run him on the 4x4 relay, and he said, not if we don't have to.
So Oragat gets through, McCoy gets through. But Sean Maswangani has to sit back and wait for this third heat to go. The bubble is 2032, so all it would take is a little bit of wind to come up for this third heat, and that 2025 might not qualify. Okay, as we get ready for this third heat, let's go over to Dan with a little bit more field.
Well, it's a field extravaganza here at Hayward Field, and this is Mark Minichiello, the 2022 NCAA champ, and also this year's SEC champion. These athletes are throwing into a pretty good headwind. But Minichiello sends one out there in the first round, and that would be big. The senior from Georgia goes 257 feet even and is in the early lead. These athletes are still in the second flight. He's ahead by about 11 feet.
All right, heat number 3, and to reference back to Sean Maswangani just for a moment, Matt Bowling has the fastest non-qualifier at 2025. That's the time that Sean Maswangani ran and has to endure this third heat. Third heat, Jamarian Stubbs from Alabama State, the sophomore who surprised with a 1995 at the East Prelims just a couple of weeks ago.
Well, he set PBs both in the 100 meters and the 200 meters. Won 6 Southwest Athletic Conference titles, and he said he was really excited to be here representing schools from the HBCU. And there you see the Swiss Army sprinter on the outside, Lance Lang. This guy can do it all. It'd be exciting. He brought Arkansas back in the 4x400 meter relay at the SEC championships, and Doug Kay said this guy can do everything. Kennedy Leitner there, he sitting in second position on the University of Kentucky all-time list behind Lance Lang, believe it or not. But always a gamer here in the 200 meters. Keep an eye on lane 4 too. Cameron Miller started at Florida, went to Louisville. Now he's a Purdue Boilermaker. He's down there in lane 4. Not sure how he is just a sophomore from an eligibility standpoint, but all right. This is a good heat. Miller, Leitner, Stubbs, Lance Lang.
Lang was the last qualifier, the time qualifier in the 100 earlier.
And Abdul Rashad Saminu shows his face again here in the 200 meters from South Florida.
Remember the bubble time, 2032. Lance Lang out fast, making up the stagger on Garrett Kalin to his outside. It's Lang, and then down there in lane number 3, it's Saminu. Saminu, who had won his 100-meter heat. And that is Jamarian Stubbs going to win the heat, and I think it's Saminu who gets that second automatic qualifier. Lang was third, but he had to run faster than 2032 to advance. It was Stubbs in 2015. Abdul Rashid Saminu second, and Lang gets through by 100th of a second, 2031, when the bubble was 2032.
Well, welcome to the NCAA Championships, Jamarian Stubbs. He steps onto this stage with authority. But look at, there he is, the gold bottoms with the white top. A couple of unlikelies. Just getting it done here at these championships. It's the second race of the day for Lance Lang. He hangs in there. But Abdul Rashid down on the inside, he ran a really nice first 100 meters to put himself in position. But exciting stuff for some of these newcomers.
Kennedy Leitner outside the time qualifier, will not advance. There's Lance Lang at the bottom of the chart, just like he was in the 100, but what they say, just make it to the final. Okay, when we come back, it's time for the 5th and final event of the first day of the decathlon, and there is your Leo Neubauer of Texas, his last collegiate meet. So 3 heats of the decathlon 400 meters on the track. Look at the lead that Leo Neubauer enjoys, almost 300 points over Peyton Bear coming into this 5th and final event of day 1. And he's got, I think, an unlikely chance at a top 10 all-time first day score because this wind has really picked up.
Well, they're going to be running directly into it on the back straight, but Leo Neugebauer, he is a good 400-meter runner, and it was interesting. He ran his personal best last year, and I asked him, he's like, where did that come from? He said, man, I run at the University of Texas. I got quarter-milers and 800-meter runners all around me, and so they were there in attendance, and he said, I couldn't let them down. The entire team was there. We'll see if that conditioning holds true here.
Well, on paper, Leo has the best, personal best 400-meter time in the field at 47:08. The only other decathlete under 48 seconds in this heat is down in lane 2, Joel McFarland of TCU, who has run 47:96. There is Edgar Campre, the sophomore from Florida and Portugal, age 24. This is his NCAA debut.
Well, great find for Rob Jarvis down there at the University of Miami. He's an outstanding coach. Coached Michelle Atherley. A bunch of ACC titles, NCAA indoor title. But this 400 meters, you prefer to be on the inside in a decathlon 400 meters so you can see everybody else out there. Give you something to run after.
Leo's collegiate first day score record is 46:40. So you have to run something close to, just to run under 49 seconds. 48:97 will give him that.
Well, good start for Leo, and you know he's experienced enough to know that if you want to run a good time, you've got to challenge yourself early. They're going to see him. He's got a solid lead right now, but Kemper, who doesn't have as good a 400-meter PR time, he's doing a great job there in the middle of the track as well.
Josh Farmer of UCI also doing a good job. Leo now lifting into the finishing state. Compre trying to stay with him, but it's going to be Leo Neugebauer. Oh, Compre finds a gear. Finally finishes just behind Leo, 48:01. So that is well below what he needed to get that first day score record. 48:03 now it's corrected to. 4,685 points on the first day. That's an improvement on his record on Kyle Garland's record by 25 points. So he had something to shoot for, Dan.
Well, nice move by Josh Farmer there with about 200 to 150 meters to go, but it's just a bigger, stronger, more powerful Leo Neugebauer down the stretch. But good run for Edgar Camper as well, who ran a personal best there. He did find another gear, and this is where you learn how to really challenge yourself in meets like this. And Leo crosses the line, and he's like, you know, that effort's a good enough effort that I can throw up the horns here on that finish. He would have loved, I'm sure, to have seen something in the 47s, but he's just right outside.
So Leo winning the heat at 48:03 is worth enough points to get a new collegiate record for first day score. 46:85 he totals. Compre with a lifetime best right behind Leo at 48:16. Tatum Klein of Kansas ends up third in that first of 3 heats. Getting their block set for the second of these 3 heats. Rafael Rapp of Oregon in this heat. He'll be in lane number 4, the sophomore from the Netherlands.
Well, then they are excited about him here in Eugene. Got a chance to watch him at the Mount Sac Relays. And I'll tell you, the Mount Sac Relays really put together a fantastic field, both in the decathlon and the heptathlon. Michelle Atherley scored big there, but the men's decathlon, 8,700 points. Aiden Owens-Delerme, he has a big breakthrough there, but it's really turning into one of the mainstay decathlons here in the United States and heptathlons here in the United States. Even after the Brian Clay Invitational, which went on a week before, that really catered to a lot of collegiates. There's Alexander Junk, the Big 12 decathlon champion. I had a chance to say hi to him during the shot put. All these decathletes are so much bigger than I remember them being when I competed against them. I was like, I'm a short guy out there amongst these giants competing in the decathlon nowadays.
Well, they're not just big, they're also big and fast, and you have to be fast in order to score in the decathlon, as you know. Alexander Jung of Kansas and from Germany, a junior, has the best time on paper 49.05, but that's from 5 years ago. Most recent time is 49.32, so this is a 49 and 50-second group of 400-meter runners.
We'll see everybody in the next heat, though, will have 47-second personal best. One individual has a 46-second, so they put the moderate 400-meter runners in the first heat, a little bit slower 400-meter runners in the second heat, and we'll see the fast heat will be the third heat. But lots to run for. Keep an eye on Jamie Schluter of Washington, just a sophomore. He's just going to be outside of Raphael Rapp.
Rapp in 4 in the green of Oregon, and Young in 8, way out in lane number 8.
Michael May going real well in the middle of the track in Auburn in the orange bottoms. He and Jamie Schluter have seemed to hook up there, running well in the middle of the track.
Young is out there running sort of blind in lane 8 as he has nobody near him.
And here comes the Cougar. That's Lee Walburn on the inside. Look at him go.
Lee Walburn for Washington State, the senior, with a 49.48. But look at him just lift. He just refuses to tie up as he celebrates winning the heat. 48.40. A big lifetime best for Walburn. You got to give it to him. He went for it. Michael May ended up second in that heat, with Schluter of Washington third. All right, Leo Neugebauer now has recovered enough to talk to our John Anderson down on the infield.
Thank you, Dwight. I don't know if he's recovered enough, but he's at least got enough breath to talk to us about the first day. What I want to know first off is, like, the last one you did as a full deck was in March at the Texas Relays. How anxious were you to go through this whole thing again?
Oh, it's been a while. I've been training a lot, but I always get butterflies when I do the decathlon, you know what I mean? So it never stops.
Why? What's the butterflies?
I don't know, like having to do 10 or for me even 11 events now, it's just like mentally, like, I don't know, it does something to you, no matter how good you are, but I love it.
All right, here we go. First event, 100, how do I feel?
Solid.
Long jump?
Standard.
Shot?
Amazing. It could be more amazing though. Second attempt was a foul and was like over half a meter further.
Still 17.46. We don't have to be greedy.
Exactly.
High jump?
Very happy.
Yeah, a little scare in there though with the third attempt.
Oh my God! Don't get me started, man.
Okay, we won't get you. We're going to get started. And then the 400.
Okay, good finish.
You said you needed to eat more. Talk about how you stay fueled up and ready for the whole day.
You know, when you're doing the decathlon, you're having fun, right? And if you have fun, time's just flying by. I didn't realize that I didn't eat enough for my body. I'm a big body, you know what I mean? So I had a sandwich, some snacks, but maybe next time I'll eat 2 sandwiches, maybe tomorrow.
All right, what do we do tonight for sandwich and rest?
You know, eating a lot, refueling, and then just laying in bed, just giving myself a massage or something.
Okay. Yeah. With a little luck, we'll see you here after the 1500. I know you'll be spry for that. Thanks, Leo.
Thank you.
Very good. Dwight?
All right, John. So kind of just a slightly above average, I guess, day, and he sets the collegiate record for the first day score as we get ready for the third and final heat of the decathlon 400. There's Peyton Bear, the SEC champ, currently second overall in the competition, well back of Leo Neugebauer, though.
Well, and Peyton Bear has had a heck of a day already. He goes through the first 4 events of the decathlon, but he also ran the anchor leg for Mississippi State in the 4x100 meters. That's what a good sprinter Peyton Bear is this season. I got a chance to see him downstairs. I said, man, your speed is really coming around. He said he's really been focused. And there's Austin West. You saw him tweak his ankle there in the high jump. But I was hoping he stepped out here to run this 400 meters. He is a fantastic 400-meter runner, 46.82. And he just goes from the gun. The Iowa Hawkeye is one of those guys who always places in the top 5. If he could get his throws together, have a chance to win one of these national titles.
So everybody in this field with a personal best faster than 48 seconds flat. Austin West in lane number 5. And that's a bit of a advantage for Peyton Bear, as Peyton Bear is on his inside.
Peyton Bear running really well right now, way ahead at the 200-meter mark, just pulled away from Soto Tirado, now has passed Austin West and Jack Turner.
I'm wondering if that tweak in the high jump to his ankle has anything to do with Austin West's less than stellar performance here, but no matter, Peyton Bear going out hard now, just trying to hang on. Jack Turner of Arkansas is there for second. Bear gives him everything he's got. 47-38 for Peyton Bear.
That was a good run on the outside as well for the senior from UT Arlington, Lucas Van Claveren. Isaiah Hudgens in lane 9 out there. That's Dominique Hall from Cincinnati, the red in the far left. But Peyton Bear, man, you want to win the 400 meters. You want to run fast in the decathlon. You've got to challenge yourself in that first 300 meters. And you have to just convince yourself, I've got to go all out for 300 and then just hold on the last 100. Good job by Peyton Bear.
So now that all the 400-meter heats for decathlon have been completed, we will endeavor to get all the points together that are assigned to the times and give you the leaders after day 1. We know that Leo Neugebauer is in the lead and that he set the collegiate record for day 1 score, but Peyton Bear, the winner of that third and final heat at 47-38. That's a season best for him. Jack Turner from Arkansas finishing second, and Lucas Van Claveren ends up third. So Leo, what has he got in store for us tomorrow? When we come back, it's the 10,000 meters. So let's get you caught up on decathlon. The day 1 scores are in the books, and there is the new collegiate record for day 1 score. Senior Leo Neugebauer of Texas, 4,685 points. He has a 457-point lead over Peyton Bear of Mississippi State going into tomorrow's day 2 decathlon coverage. Here is a final, an actual final on the track. The men's 10,000 meters. Nico Young setting that collegiate record earlier this year. Patrick Deaver with the meet record. And Habtom Samuel, the freshman from Eritrea and New Mexico. He will start in the 19th position. This is a final. 24 athletes qualified to get here. They're all on the track.
Habtom Samuel, already a 3-time All-American in his first 2 seasons between cross-country and indoors, the NCAA cross-country runner-up, and then the second fastest collegian in history over 10,000 meters behind only Nico Young of Northern Arizona. There is Patrick Kiprop representing the University of Arkansas. He is a big part of their team hopes, a big part of their success in cross country with a podium finish. And then Texas Tech freshman Ernest Chariot, who has the 4th fastest time in the NCAA this season. He was the Big 12 indoor 5,000 meter champion.
And they're away cleanly. You can see the 2 groups of athletes. They stay in those groups through the first turn, and then they will cut for the pole on the backstretch. 24 athletes, 25 laps.
And since we set this up by mentioning, of course, the collegiate record, I want to take care of a bit of business in terms of where everyone will be this weekend. So Nico Young opting to focus on the 5,000. So he will compete on Friday in that event only, opting not for the 10,000. He'll obviously have the Olympic trials here at Hayward Field coming up, so factoring in a number of different races that he will compete in. And then Graham Blanks from Harvard, the cross-country NCAA champion, to which Habtom Samuel was second. He's also doing only the 5,000 meters. And then the top 3 from last year's NCAA championship, it was won by Kai Robinson. The defending champ not going to defend it. He's the 10,000 at least. He's aiming only for the 5,000, and a title over on that side. So just kind of figuring out some personnel, because a lot of people are probably expecting to see a rematch between Samuel and Nico Young, because those guys threw down that incredible 10K at the 10 meet earlier this season, to which they went below the Olympic qualifying standard of 27 minutes, and Hoptum Samuel, the only athlete in this particular field of 24 that we have right here that is below that 27-minute standard. And they said when he ran that time of 26:53 at the 10, they were aiming for the standard. It came as absolutely no surprise. That race was really set up well to go fast. And I asked a number of different coaches, hey, you know, without Nico Young, without Kai Robinson, without Graham Blanks, how does that change the complexion of the 10,000? They said, honestly, it doesn't matter. It all comes down to who shows up and who races. A lot of people run really impressive times or have won titles, of course, in previous seasons, but this is a blank slate for everyone when you come here to the outdoor NCAA championships. And right now, you can see Hoptum Samuel is doing a great job there up front, taking control, currently on pace 27:30, so very, very comfortable for him given what he ran earlier in the year. It's one thing to kind of be on alert for too is, you know, could that meet record fall, that 27:41? You know, you have athletes who are well capable of taking that time down, taking down that mark and setting NCAA history. Pretty good conditions for the 10,000 that we have tonight as well.
So Tom Brady is in this race, you know, Michigan Tom Brady. There he is, right there, without football.
You can't compete at the University of Michigan with the name Tom Brady and not command a bit of attention. And it was he was quickly informed when he actually came on his official visit. He was walking around, and his host, about 2 minutes in, looked around and said, okay, so you know Tom Brady's kind of a big deal around here, right? Tom Brady, the one you're looking at, was born in 2000, the same year that Tom Brady, 7-time Super Bowl champion, made his debut for the Patriots. And here is something, a little tale of the tape that the Wolverines program put together just a few years ago, kind of measuring these guys up. Pretty funny to see here the comparables between the two, but he is not named after that Tom Brady. This 10K Tom Brady is not named after him. It's actually a family name going back to his late great-grandfather. And he said, you know, that Tom Brady has such great work ethic. I don't really mind the comparisons. Make no mistake, guys, he's from the suburbs of Chicago. He is a diehard Bears fan. So he's a fan of Tom Brady, but not necessarily the Patriots or the Buccaneers. That is a proud Chicago Bears guy.
Well, I'm sure he's a good sport about it, and here he is in the national championship 10,000 meter final.
If only he'd gotten hit 12. That's the one thing I wish that had worked out.
That would have been great, yeah. All right, so pretty good pace established. They're not bunched up too much. So let's step aside for a moment and check in on what's happening with the long jump with Dan.
And we got to look at Johnny Brackens. We said he was pulling double duty. Saw him run in the hurdles. The junior from USC, though, loves to long jump. He loves to jump in other events as well. Last year, USC said it was maybe a case of Johnny abuse, that they put him in so many different events. But here this year, they've run him sparingly, but he goes 26.4 and a half. And he would sit in 4th position. This is Jeremiah Davis, the senior from Florida State. On his 2nd attempt, he was your ACC outdoor champ this year, 2nd at the NCAA indoor championships. But he would send one out there on his 2nd attempt. He knew it was a good one, saw the white flag. He was 7th last year at this meet, and he'd go 26.5 3/4. But this is Wayne Pinnock, the junior. You see, he got a little bit of tape on that left hamstring. But he's been the favorite all year long. On his 3rd attempt, he would go 26.2 1/4. Silver medalist of the World Championships, 3-time NCAA long jump champ, indoors and outdoors. But he would finish in 5th place. This is Malcolm Clemens, the junior from Florida, on his third attempt. Look at the extension on that jump. He was fourth at the NCAA Outdoor Championships, fourth at the SEC Championships, but he would blast one in the third round. J.C. Stevenson, just a sophomore at USC. This is his 6th round jump. He's been the collegiate leader all season long. He was second at the Pac-12 Championships both last year and this year, 11th at the NCAA Championships, and in the 6th round, he would bomb one to a big-time personal best and a big upset over Wayne Pinnock and USC. The Trojans would get the win in the long jump, but a fantastic long jump competition going to the youngster, J.C. Stevenson.
So 2 scorers in the long jump for the Trojans. That certainly is helpful for their any team title hopes they might have. And we're back to the 10,000 meters with Hatem Samuel still leading, setting the pace. No one wants to head him at this point. So about 7 minutes in, we're going to step aside. And when we return, more of our coverage of this men's 10,000 meter final. So back to the 10,000 meters with just over 16 laps remaining. And Hatem Samuel just a few minutes ago stepped aside and was encouraging somebody else to take the lead, and he has taken up a spot about 10th place now in the pack.
Karami Yago of Arkansas there up front. Pace has slowed pretty significantly. They were right around 66 seconds and a couple of 67.5s and now 68.5. So we've slowed down to a 27.55 pace. They were previously closer to about 27.40, 8.56 through the 3,200 meter mark. Karami Yago, the signature sunglasses, and that's normally a bit of a cue. If he has them down, it's a certain mode. He flips them up. At other times, he has his teammate Patrick Kiprop there as well to help with those lead duties, as well as Kansas's Chandler Gibbons, who was positioned well behind Hatem Samuel before we had a bit of transition. They're at the lead of the pack.
Important team implications for the Razorbacks with 2 of their runners in this 10,000 meters. Yago currently leading and Kiprop currently in 3rd position.
And when you get to this point of the season, a lot of guys like a Patrick Kiprop and those who are in the 10,000, they've just gone to the well so many times going back to the cross-country season. Of course, he was Kiprop, an All-American in cross-country, as was Karami Yago, part of the podium finish for Arkansas. And in talking to head coach Chris Bucknam, he said the final event of the day, this is going to set the tone for our team and how we finish up on Friday. Looking to bookend what we've done from cross-country. We ran a phenomenal race there. We've talked about the fact Arkansas has it on their minds. They fell just short of a couple of team titles in the last year. So this can be significant in terms of setting them up for success come Friday. Pace now above 28 minutes at 28:10. That's leaving a lot of athletes in this field. Hatem Samuel has great closing speed, great mile speed, so he can certainly afford to hang out just a little bit. But some of those others who would like to keep this pace honest, someone like a Patrick Kiprop would like to push things a bit more. Chariot from Texas Tech has been very comfortable too throughout the first portion of the race.
More than 4 kilometers gone. Let's step aside for a moment, get you caught up on what happened in the finals of the pole vault.
All right, let's put a bow on this men's pole vault competition amidst swirling winds. This is Clayton Sims, the junior from Kansas. He was 5th a few weeks ago at the Big 12 Outdoor Championships. He was 5th last year at the NCAA Outdoor Championships, so looking to improve. But he would be over on a second attempt, 18.5 1/4, and that is worth a big fist pump. But he would go no higher. This is Keaton Daniel, SEC champ, your NCAA indoor champ, looking to sweep both the indoor and the outdoor. First attempt at 18.7 1/4. Oh, and a big clearance there for Keaton Daniel, the senior from Kentucky. And he would be the last man standing. This is a 3rd attempt at 19.1. He did take 1 jump at 18.9, moved the bar up to 19.1. and was unsuccessful, but he will come away. Oh, and he broke that crossbar. That one's worth keeping right there. You break it, you keep it. But he'll come away with an NCAA title his senior year as a Kentucky Wildcat.
All right, back to the 10,000 meters. There are the official results of that men's pole vault, with Daniel winning it over Sims and Sampe. 6 point for the Houston Cougars, though. They've got a lot of people that they've advanced. And here comes Captain Samuel back as we see the lap counter click down to 13 laps remaining.
And as they are so tightly packed there up front, one to watch, North Carolina's Alex Phillip, third fastest in the NCAA this year, and one of just the great stories of this outdoor season, a graduate transfer from John Carroll University, where he held numerous Division III records and was a 7-time national champion at John Carroll. And when he ran 27:51, third fastest this season at this distance, it shattered the Tar Heel school record by nearly a minute. And coming out of high school, Alex Phillip, who grew up in the Akron area, actually graduated from the same high school as LeBron James, St. Vincent St. Mary. He reached out to every college coach in Ohio, just asking for the opportunity to run for their program. Most turned him down, but got the opportunity at John Carroll, which was such a great fit in terms of developing him and then giving him an opportunity to get to North Carolina. And Director of Track and Field Chris Miltenberg said he really brings a blue-collar mindset and just a want to be part of the program. That is something that has impacted the entire team. Doing a great job right now of positioning himself right near Patrick and Victor Kiprop.
So when they come up down the finishing stretch, we're a little bit past the halfway mark in 14:10, so 28:20 pace. So we'll step aside again. And when we return to Eugene, more of our coverage of this 10,000 meter final.
Well, they are through the first 3 rounds in the shot put, and this is the guy who's having a great season, NCAA indoor champ, 2024 SEC outdoor champ. And on his first attempt, he would get everybody thinking about it. The sophomore from Ole Miss, Tarek Robinson O'Hagan, goes 67 feet to open this competition. He finished 7th in the hammer just a couple of hours ago. Isn't Jason Swearens, the junior from Wisconsin? He was 10th at the Big Ten Outdoor Championships, 4th at the NCAA Indoor Championships, and on his second round, he would go 66:10 and a half. So after 3 rounds, O'Hagan leads Swearens by just an inch and a half. The final still to come.
All right, back to the 10,000 meters. Conditions are not ideal, maybe a little on the warmish side, but it's going to get warmer over the next 3 days. And there is some wind out there, to be sure.
Dennis Kipnitich of Oklahoma State has now taken into the lead. We've seen quite a bit of exchanging there up front. He's glancing over, wanting Chariot maybe to go up and give him some help as well. Gesturing, you can see a little conversation back and forth. Karami Yego is always talking to somebody. We have seen this over and over in multiple championship races. He's gesturing to people and commanding them to maybe get up and get into contention. We have had so many lead changes. Things have slowed pretty significantly. They're now on 28:26 pace. They're right around 72nd 400s now, so significantly slower than they were through the first 4,000 meters. At 6K, they were right at 17 minutes. So this is leaving it to be really anyone's race up front. And you can see that sliver of orange there of Dennis Kipnitich. He was the lead to their championship during the cross-country season. He was 4th place overall to lead the Cowboys to that team title. And in talking with head coach Dave Smith, they have 3 athletes in this field, really feel like that they could get all 3 to score. 2 currently in view from what you can see right now.
Not sure what Yego's heat shields being up means, but he is in the lead as he comes up with 8 laps remaining. We will step aside for the final time, bring you the conclusion of this 10,000 meters when we return. Arkansas 1st and 4th with 8 laps remaining in this 10K.
Welcome back to the National Championships here at Hayward Field. Let's catch you up in the men's javelin. This is your leader, Mark Minicello. Led after the first round. This is his 2nd attempt. The senior from Georgia leads by 11 feet. But he won a 2022 NCAA title while at Penn. And last year, He was the 2000. He was third at the 2023 U.S. Outdoor Championships, and here in the second round he goes 264 to lengthen that lead to 18 feet, and they are through the fourth round. And Minicello, the Georgia Bulldog, continues to lead.
4 laps remaining in the 10,000 meter final. 13 runners, slightly more than half the field in that lead group, and everybody in there still in contention.
Alex Phillip has moved up front thanks to a couple of 66 and 65s over the most recent 400s pace, 28-23. Now to this point, starting to see things string out just a bit. And the mantra Alex Phillip carries with him into competition is onward on. No matter what happens, you keep pressing, you keep persevering, you keep working hard. Eventually you're going to find success. He has been onward on over the last few laps as he is right into the thick of it. Coming up on 3 laps to go.
68 degrees now here at Hayward Field, so a little bit more pleasant conditions for these distance runners. Arkansas still in a great position to score a lot of points with Patrick Kiprop there in the lead. And then Karami Yego now back about 8th or 9th, but you never know. He can surge up to the front and take the lead again. You never know what you're going to get from him.
And this is where you're going to see people start to make moves, and you're going to have to cover the moves that are made. Not necessarily have to do it in an aggressive fashion, but certainly just be aware, be on your toes, as this will start to shake up, because everyone here is going to rely on some bit of a kick. And in talking with Coach Gosson from New Mexico, one thing to be aware of is that Hobson Samuel competed here at the World Championships for Eritrea when he was just 18 years old. Has great familiarity in this venue.
Wow, that's a major crash with just a little over 2 laps remaining. That shakes things up a great deal. Patrick Kiprop is a part of that crash.
That's devastating. There's still time. There's still plenty of time. If you maintain composure, you can get right back in it. Let's see if we can tell what happens. Ernest Chariot is up front, and Patrick Kiprop just gets caught on that back step and then tangles up. Alex Phillip tangles up.
Samuel also goes down but bounces back up and is in 5th place, but you just don't know what kind of a toll that takes. There's a rush of adrenaline to get back up in the race, especially with just over 2 laps remaining.
And look at Chandler Gibbons trying to stay inside the rail to just remain up top, or remain on his feet. So everyone behind them too having to hurdle them around. So Samuel rebounds very well, very quickly. It's Kipnitich of Oklahoma State, Chariot of Texas Tech, Samuel of New Mexico, and then Kiprop of Alabama right there. And now Patrick Kiprop has fought his way back up.
But how much energy has it taken from him to do so? 1 lap remaining. Ernest Chariot on the inside. He was the one that didn't cause the accident, but that's whose feet Patrick Kiprop tripped over. Hobson Samuel up there in 3rd place. He was part of that carnage with about 100 meters more than 2 laps remaining.
65 seconds on that last 400 meters. Now it is going to be a throwdown to the finish as they make their way toward the Bowerman Tower.
Chariot not giving up the lead to Kipnitich, and Samuel is also right there.
Looked like Victor Kiprop may have gotten tripped up a little bit there with under 200 meters to go.
There's Samuel into the lead. Remember, he was part of that crash. He bounced back up off the track. Hobson Samuel, the 2nd fastest at this distance. Just a freshman at the University of New Mexico will take the 10K title. And the 2 Arkansas runners maybe didn't score. Kiprop might have gotten 8th. Yego out of the scoring position.
58.2 seconds for the final 400 meters. He is New Mexico's first outdoor national champion since Winnie Kaladi won the 10K back in 2019. First for the men's program since Josh Kerr back in 2017 and put on a phenomenal display in the final 400 meters. What a closing kick. What a way to respond after he took a tumble. The carnage there among your lead pack. You can see he gets caught over Alex Phillip, diving there next to Patrick Kiprop, swings out, has to run a lot of extra real estate, and then you can see fends off a finishing charge over the last 200 meters. After he ran that incredible 10,000 meter earlier this season, worked extensively on his race tactics, and that was put on display, embracing that finish line in celebration as he is the 10K champion for the University of New Mexico in his first NCAA season.
Just a 20-year-old freshman winning the title here and recovering from what could have been a devastating fall. There it is. Hampton Samuel wins the race over Victor Kiprop. Dennis Kipnitich, who was part of that whole sprint over the last 200 meters, ends up third. Ernst Chariot, whose feet Patrick Kiprop tripped over and took two other athletes out with him, and Kiprop for Arkansas only able to score 1 point for the Razorbacks. That's a major hit to their team title hopes. All right, so the 10K is in the books. Only thing we got left on day one in the men's semifinals are 3 heats of the 4x400 meter relay, and we will bring those to you when we return to Eugene. All right, we're back in Eugene. A wild and woolly finish to the men's 10,000 meters with a little over 2 laps remaining. Patrick Kiprop of Arkansas trips over the feet of Chariot of Texas Tech. 2 other athletes go down, including that man, the champion, the freshman from New Mexico, Hampton Samuel. He bounced right off the track. For those of you who remember from 50-plus years ago, Lassie Viren did the same thing in the 10,000 meter final in the Olympic Games and set a world record. And he, Hampton Samuel that is with John.
Dwight, right, it's not how many times you go down, it's how many times you pick yourself up. Hampton Samuel, I want to know, just in the instant that you're falling to the ground, what is going through your mind?
Oh, that's really, but I'm a little bit scared because like 2 laps to go, that's not easy to recover. So, but yeah, I'm so lucky today. If I'm falling down and hurt me my leg, that I can't do, but I'm happy. But I'm really, I'm so sad when I'm falling down. Like I think like many things in my mind. Can I close the gap right now? Like 2 laps to go. So, but yeah, God saved me today. Yeah.
So when you get up, is there time for a plan? I mean, now that you're up and running, what are you thinking to try and chase that guy down?
For chasing them, that's not easy because when I wake up, like almost a little bit gap there for me. So but I'm really in a good position and I'm really fit for this race today. So I'm a bit scared, but finally I made it and I'm so happy.
Well, you told me the first 3,000 you were thinking there was going to be maybe you could get the championship record.
Yeah.
When you got up, I realized you just wanted to finish. That's quite a difference between the two. Congratulations on being a national champ.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. My plan for this race today is like I know this track is I've been before 2 years ago. I'm here like for the World Athletics World Championship Oregon. So I know the track, the altitude, everything. So today I'm really planning to run like the championship record by 27:41. So that's my plan to break the championship record. That's why I'm starting the first like from start 66.67 until 3K. But the guys, they can't help me. I said, oh, let me stop and just go for a win. And I'm back and join the group. Just I follow the guys and sometimes also I help them. So that's really good race. But yeah, still I'm happy because
championship record's one thing. Just take the championship after the fall and call it good. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the fans being here today. That's a nice altitude, good track. I'm so happy. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Very good. Dwight, upstairs, there are a lot of guys that were bloodied after this. There were a lot of spike marks and skinned knees. He got out alive.
No kidding. Yeah, a great performance, all things considered. As we get ready now for the final event of the day, 3 heats of the 4x400 relay. There's the collegiate record by Florida, also the meet record because they set it here, or I should say in Austin last year. And the collegiate leader, the Arkansas Razorbacks, 2:59.03. Top 2 teams across the line will be automatically qualified into Friday's final. The next 3 on time. Florida Gators will start out in lane 6. They are the 2-time defending champions.
And they'll be going for 3, and nobody's done the 3-peat in quite some time. UCLA was able to do it back in the late 60s and the early 70s, not just a 3-peat, but a 6-peat. But Florida will lead off with Jaheim Hales, and they'll finish with Javon Powell. There you see LSU 1 lane outside. Sean Burrell, who's already qualified in the 400-meter hurdles, he goes on that first leg. Shaquem McKay to Salim Epps and Dylan Bedell Jr. He'll anchor there for the LSU Tigers. Burrell, the senior of that squad. Burrell looked good in the 400-meter hurdles. His fitness is very good, so this is the second run of the day for him. And keep an eye on Tennessee. This meet has not been going exactly their way, but they line up a really solid squad. Ducos, the 400-meter hurdler, he'll lead off. And Jaquan Hale, another 400-meter hurdler, he'll go in third. And Rasheem Griffith, another 400-meter hurdler, will anchor for the Tennessee Volunteers.
Toughest race on the track, 400-meter hurdles. Florida with the only time under 3 minutes this year coming into this race in this heat. But this meet tends to bring out the best in these athletes and in these teams. It's just something different about running on the relay. The only true team part of track and field are the relays.
Well, what's interesting, though, you get that whole team up in the stands, and they feel like they're every bit a part of this 4x4 squad.
Absolutely. I know that feeling well. So Florida will be in 6, LSU in 7. From the inside, Harvard, UT San Antonio, Mississippi State. Then in the middle, Tennessee, Florida, LSU. On the outside, South Florida and Penn State. They will stay in their lanes through the entire first leg. Pass the baton, the outgoing runner will stay in his lane through the full first turn and then break for the pole on the backstretch.
And for athletes that just ran one semifinal today, coming back and running a second 400 meters is just a good workout. They're going to get a day off tomorrow, then they'll come back for the finals of the men. So the women will start tomorrow, then they'll get that day off and they'll come back on Saturday. But good running on the outside. We've seen some real great running from the South Florida squad. This is Treshawn Bowie, the junior, but Florida looks like they're in the lead with Tennessee not far behind.
And Sean Burrell in true 400 hurdle style finished strong and passed his team off just barely in second place. So it's Florida, LSU, South Florida. There's Tennessee as well. As they break for the pole, they take the smart tangent. There it is from Florida. Rios Prude, the freshman, taking that tangent, running the minimum distance possible.
All right, Raheem Hales on that first leg for Florida, 45.6, so a good start for the Gators.
Florida, LSU, Tennessee, all SEC in the top 3 positions. Gators go with Genoa McKeever on leg number 3, Salim Epps for LSU, and for Tennessee, Jaquan Hale.
So good run for the freshman there by Rios Prude, 45.5. It's nice when you've got depth in that 400 meters and you can sit guys like Wanye McCoy and Robert Gregory. Let them rest up, get ready for their individual finals, but Florida is just running away with it right now.
Good opportunity for these youngsters also to get a little bit of national championship exposure and feeling that crowd and being on this track. Florida well out in front now. Tennessee going into second as they get ready to exchange the baton for the last time. For Florida, Javon Powell on anchor. For LSU, Dylan Bedell. And for Tennessee, Rasheem Griffith. That's a comfortable lead for the Gators.
Well, on a big third leg for the Florida Gators, McKeever goes 44-3. And I'll tell you, it was a good run by EB. Emmanuel Bynum from Tennessee. He's not listed here for Tennessee. It looked like it said Jaquan Hale, but it was Emmanuel Bynum who brought the Volunteers all the way up into second.
LSU now back into second place. That's important because it's an automatic qualifying position. Florida well out in front, but LSU finishing strong with Dylan Bedell to grab the second automatic qualifying spot. Tennessee will finish third. So it's 1-2-3 SEC in this first heat of the 4x400 relay. 3:01.78 officially for the Florida Gators.
Well, the LSU anchor Dylan Bedell, 44-8. Javon Powell from Florida, he was able to just take a little bit of a break. 46 flat for him on an anchor leg.
Second and third heats when we come back to Eugene.
Well, back to the national championships here in Eugene, Oregon on a nice, cool June night. This is Dylan Taggart, the junior from South Carolina. South Carolina's got a heck of a throwing squad, but here he would go in the 5th round. Wait for the mark, 66.4½. Good throw, and that would move him up to 3rd place. He was not able to overcome Jason Swearens, who would finish in 2nd place, but this would be your champion. Tarek Robinson O'Hagan on the 6th round, a swan song for him. He's already got the competition really tied up and in an easy bow. Big yell on the 6th round, and he'd go 20 meters, 68 feet 6. It'd be a personal best and a collegiate lead. What a way to finish the season for the sophomore from Ole Miss. There you see, congratulations all around. So dominated indoors, and he does it again outdoors.
There are the final results. Tarek Robinson O'Hagan, 68.6, a 1.5 foot improvement on in the last round when he didn't need it for the wind. That's impressive. Jason Swearens second, Dylan Taggart is third. All right, heat number 2 of 3 in the men's 4x400 relay featuring Texas A&M. There is their lineup. They come in with a season best 3 flat 38. And then on their outside in lane 7 are the Arkansas Razorbacks, who come with a season best of 2:59.03.
Well, Lance Lang absent from that list, but this still is a really solid squad for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Virginia Tech goes in lane 4. Keep an eye on Campbell. They've gone 3:01 this season. Virginia Tech 3:01.62. But Arkansas 2:59.03 at the SEC Outdoor Championships.
From the inside, Pittsburgh, Purdue, Virginia Tech. Then in the middle, Campbell, Texas A&M, Arkansas, and then on the outside, Kansas State and UCLA.
Well, UCLA on the outside lane there in lane 9 have got it to a really quick start. UCLA goes Ismail Turner, the senior, and Mile Meisner-Daly, another senior, will go second for the Bruins.
If you allow me to reminisce for a moment, UCLA used to own this event back in the day. And when I say back in the day, I'm talking about the 70s and the 80s. Arkansas now making a big push. Tomljanovic is finishing really strong for the Razorbacks. They'll pass first.
.45.9 for TJ Tomljanovic. Good start for the Razorbacks. James Benson, the second, will take the second leg.
So Arkansas A&M up front as we expected them to be.
And And for the Texas A&M Aggies, that's Cutler Zamzow, brother to former Ashton Zamzow, now Ashton Mahler, great heptathlete from the University of Texas.
Arkansas will pass first, followed by A&M. For Arkansas, Connor Washington. For A&M, Kamar Farquharson, the 400-meter hurdler who has qualified through to Friday's final in his individual event.
.45 flat for Cutler Zamzow.
44.5 for James Benson Jr.
I got my numbers mixed up. And here is Connor Washington, and he got that stick and just so much intention to get out early, establish a good rhythm and a good tempo to keep the Razorbacks ahead.
Yeah, but for Farquharson, he's a 400 hurdler, which means he finishes strong, closing the gap for the Aggies. Arkansas passes first. For the Razorbacks, Stephen McElroy. For A&M, it's Ahmad Robinson, who is qualified for the 400-meter final.
45.2 for Farquharson. 45.9 for Connor Washington. This ought to be a great finish. Ahmad Robinson loves to run people down.
Stephen McElroy doing a good job holding off Ahmad Robinson, but here comes Robinson. They're going to be the automatic qualifiers. A&M will win the heat, followed by Arkansas. 3:01.16 unofficially. 3:01.17 with a 44.6 anchor for Ahmad Robinson. Arkansas goes 3:01.56. So the first three finishers in Heat 1 and the first two finishers in Heat 2, all Southeastern Conference.
Well, the key in a 4x400 meter exchange is to keep the baton moving through the zone. Try not to let the baton slow down. And here you see everybody with these easy open 4x4 exchanges. This is where things can get a little chippy, especially when teams are coming in there at the same time. Officials doing a good job telling these incoming runners where to go, but you're usually pretty safe if you can pass the baton and just stand in your spot, let somebody go around you. But these are the best teams in the country, and they pass the baton better than anybody. But look at Ahmad Robinson. He said when he learned to just rely on his training, he started running much faster races, not doubting himself.
So official results of that second heat. A&M wins it with 3:01.17. Arkansas second. UCLA under the bubble, which is 3:05.48 with one heat remaining. Campbell is actually the bubble time with one heat remaining. All right, let's wrap up the field events.
Well, the javelin was taking center stage right in the middle of downtown here at Hayward Field. This is Chandler Alt, the senior from Washington. On his fifth attempt, he would reach down deep and come up with something big. 260 feet 2 inches for the Washington Husky. And he would pick a great time for a personal best. And he would finish in second place, 260 feet 2 inches. You gotta love doing it here in Duck territory. But nobody today was catching Mark Minichiello, the 2022 NCAA champion, while at Penn. And then this year, representing the Georgia Bulldogs, and he just kind of quacks one out there.
It's a knuckleball.
Yep, quacks one out there and said, you know what, I got this thing won. And nice celebration by Minichiello. He goes 80 meters 70, 264 feet 9 inches, and 10 points for the Bulldogs.
So Minichiello winning it early. Alt coming through in the final round to get second, and DeVoe DeSalle of Miami, Florida ends up third. All right, so we wrap up day one for men, the semifinal day for the guys. It's down to 66 degrees. We got the third and final heat of the 4x400 relay. And this heat featuring the Alabama Crimson Tide, who come in with a season best 259.06. There is their lineup, all seniors but one, with Samuel Ghazi, their fantastic freshman, going to run third leg. And then Texas inside of them in lane number 5. They come in with the best time this year of 3:01.53.
Chris Brinkley will lead off for the Longhorns, and Chris Robinson, the 400-meter hurdler, already qualified, second run of the day, just getting some work in. Chris Robinson will go to Jonathan Martin. Matthew Weaver. Arizona State out in lane 7. They've run 3 flat without Justin Robinson. So see if they can do that again tonight.
From the inside, Oklahoma State, USC, Texas Tech. Then in the middle, Texas, Alabama, Arizona State. And on the outside, BYU and Baylor.
Texas Tech has gone 3:01 this season. Texas has gone 3:01. Alabama, certainly we know how good they are. Arizona State also 3:01.
Here comes Alabama with Chris Robinson. Remember, those 400-meter hurdlers, they finished strong. But Arizona State's Jaden Davis, the freshman, holding him off. Going to be close for the exchange. Alabama makes the exchange first. 45.7 for Chris Robinson on the leadoff. Jonathan Martin now takes it for Crimson Tide. For Arizona State, it's Caleb Simpson.
Well, that's USC in third position there. Made a nice loop move. William Jones ran that first leg. Jacob Andrews now here on the second leg, just a freshman.
So USC making a move to try and get up front. It's Arizona State, Alabama, USC making a move, and Texas Tech as they come down the home straight to make the second exchange. Arizona State fading. USC makes the exchange first. No, Arizona State, a smart move by their outgoing runner Nicholas Ramey to keep the Sun Devils in the lead, followed closely by USC, Alabama, and Texas Tech.
Well, for Texas Tech, that's the 400-meter hurdler, Oscar Edlin, a junior. He's in for his second duty of the day. But USC just wants to get this thing around to Johnny Blockberger, who's going to bring it home for the Trojans.
Matthew Weaver for Alabama. They're in third, but challenging. Going wide. Matthew Weaver trying to race his Crimson Tide into back into the lead in exchange first. He'll hand off to Spencer Gudgel. Alabama with a little bit of lead. Johnny Blockberger for the Trojans in second. Texas Tech is third.
44.9 for Matthew Weaver there, but not a great outgoing run for Spencer Cudgel. That baton slowed down through the pass. Excuse me, this is Caleb McRae as Texas Tech has to step off the track.
Texas Tech is out of it. Alabama leading USC. Spencer Cudgel trying to make it a clean sweep of SEC schools in all 3 heats of these 4x400-meter relays, but Johnny Blockberger might have something to say about it. It is going to be Alabama wins it over USC. They get the automatic qualifying positions, and Texas's Logan Pobelka realizing that they're looking at a time qualifier running hard for the line. Let's see if it paid off. Well, 3:01.88 for Alabama.
For Alabama, it was not Spencer Cudgel. That's Caleb McRae right there. But talking to the Alabama coach, I said, what do you have to run today to make it through? He said, man, I can put 4 guys out there and I can run 3 flat and we can get through. Let's take a look at some of these exchanges. Good run for Chris Robinson up front, but great run for Jaden Davis, the freshman. Come to the national championships, gain a lot of confidence when you can run on a 4x4 relay like this and just hang with some of the best teams in the country. There you see good exchanges there by the Sun Devils, man. They've been doing it a long time. But there's Caleb McRae, outgoing runner. He ran 1:400 today. This is his second one of the day. Thought Johnny Blockberger might have a little bit left, but I think he knew where he was. Second position, had it locked up, and said, I'm going to just hang right here.
44.3 for Johnny Blockberger and the Trojans on that final carry. And Texas did advance. Smart running there. 3:04.48 is what it took. Arizona State got the last spot. Texas A&M with the best time, but all of those schools, the first 4, certainly have better times in them. Let's take a look after 6 final events. Just 6 events scored today. The Trojans are ahead by 6 over Georgia, with Cal just a half point back, and Ole Miss and Kansas tied for 4th. Well, the men's semifinal day is in the books. It's going to get warmer as the days increase. Tomorrow it's the women's semifinals. This wraps our first of 4 days of coverage for this NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championship. Join us tomorrow when the women begin their competition for both the team and individual titles. Tomorrow is also day 2 of the decathlon. Coverage starts at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and don't forget you catch exclusive field event streaming on ESPN Plus starting at 2:30 p.m. For John Anderson, Laura Overton, Dan O'Brien, and our 2 great statisticians, Tom Lewis and Richard Benoit, I'm Dwight Stone. So long, everybody. See you tomorrow.